I can tell you from experience that rowing is a far safer sport than mountain biking. Mountain biking is probably what ended my last season of rowing. A couple of trips to hospital, but Ben Hayward from Lake Tuggeranong there certainly doing well to keep with this A final of a very well-entered event. One of the traditionally and in keeping with being one of the highest numbers of entries at this regatta. It's Remy Payne, the West Australian, who's just extended that lead over Cameron Parker of Scotch Oakburn, who in turn will have to watch out for Harry Coddington of Northern Beaches Secondary College, who is into the medal positions ahead of Finn Redman from Adelaide High, who's into 4th place. He was sitting about 5th or 6th earlier on in the race, but the sculler on your screen there in the red singlet, Remy Payne from Churchlands Senior High School, that has been racing throughout this event, I believe, for Fremantle Rowing Club in the under-19 single and double sculls, and got into the A final of both of those events, but was without a medal earlier on in the week, and looking to turn that around here as he enters the last 250 metres of the course at the Sydney International Regatta Centre. Scotch Oakburn sculler starting to narrow that lead, but it is a long way to go. A lot of distance to make up here in the closing stages. Harry Coddington from Northern Beaches Secondary College has a good bit of momentum now, but he'll have to look out for the sculler from Adelaide High, Finn Redman there in the fluoro cap. You can see him in the back of your picture in lane 3, who looks to be a challenge for a bronze medal at this stage. As it stands, entering the last 125 metres of the course, it is Remy Payne from Churchlands Senior High School, as it has been from about the 500 metre mark, from Scotch Oakburn in Tasmania, represented by Cameron Parker, and Harry Coddington from Northern Beaches Secondary College. So it could be 3 separate states represented here on the podium of the schoolboy single scull. Remy Payne has led all the way down the course. He was unlucky to not get a medal in the under-19 single earlier in the week, and he'll get redemption here in the schoolboy single scull. He leads by a boat length, and he'll be national champion for Churchlands Senior High School from Cameron Parker from Scotch Oakburn and Harry Coddington of Northern Beaches Secondary College. Finishes a couple lengths up on Finn Redman of Adelaide High, a valiant finish. Our early race leader in lane 7, or rather, sorry, the Ruben Brosnan from Brisbane State High in 5th. Early race leader in lane 7, Jason McKenzie in 6th place. Reese Davey from Bacchus Marsh Grammar in 7th. And Ben Hayward from Lake Tuggeranong College in 8th place.
Presentation of medals for the 2024 Schoolgirls Single Scull Championship of Rowing Australia Life member. In 3rd place, and bronze medalists representing the Cathedral School, Courtney Davis. In 2nd place, and silver medalist representing All Hallows School, Gabrielle Ryan. And gold medalist and Australian champion for 2024, representing Radford College, Zara Turner. Zara is coached by Maximilian Meyer and Megan Fritsch. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our 2024 Australian champion and medalists. As we move on now to the Schoolgirl Coxed 4A final. In lane number 1, we have Roseville College. Lane 2, Loretto College Ballarat. Lane 3, the Friends School. Lane 4, Unley High from South Australia. Lane 5, Queenwood School in New South Wales. Lane 6, the Wilderness School in South Australia. Lane 7, it's the second crew from Queenwood. And Lane 8, Loreto Ballarat, as we just see there. Queenwood and the Wilderness School battling it out for the early lead. It's the Schoolgirls coxed for a final.
Yeah, this Queenwood crew has looked the absolute form favourite all the way through the opening rounds of this event. That's Brooke Cuttons, Zara Taylor, Gemma McLaren, Addison Rolls and Chloe Jaretta, the coxswain who are currently leading this race from the combination from South Australia, the Wilderness School. That's Marjorie Tucker, Isabel Jackson, Gia Rinaldi, Imogen Hawker and Sophia Tayeb, the coxswain, coached by John Trovas. Those two stealing a little bit of a march on the field in the opening exchanges of the race. Almost a boat length clear of the nearest competitor, which will come from lane 4. The second of the South Australian crews in this race. Unley High, Georgie Twelftree, Felicity Cox, Tamara Bates, Eleanor Nettlefold and Harriet Williams, the coxswain, who are currently sitting in the provisional bronze medal position, but a long way to row here in these coxed fours, a boat which it is definitely possible to change the speed quite rapidly, as Queenwood leading through the first 500 from Wilderness School, Unley High, Friends, Loreto Ballarat, first crew, the second Queenwood crew there in lane 7. The second of the Loreto Ballarat crews in lane 8 and Roseville College over in lane 1. But very tight between those trailing 3 crews for the bottom 3 positions, and not quite as tight out in the lead as the Queenwood combination there stride out to almost a boat length, as the combination from South Australia from the Wilderness School just keeping in touch, about half a length of overlap in that case. So just a few interesting combinations going in this one. Some schools in this field will their primary event as well. Unley High and Wilderness School, although Wilderness School did have the first 8 out, getting a silver medal in the sprint 8s last night. So some crews, this is their top 4. Some schools, this might be their second 8 rowing in a 4, and some schools, as is the case from our leaders in Queenwood, this is half of their first 8 that finished on the podium in the Queenwood. And a couple of feet of clear water, just breaking that chain of connections. We see the wonderful chevron, the crews progressing down the course in almost as expected, as the fastest qualifiers are awarded those second back in 5th, and then tight in the for the bottom 3 placings between Loreto Ballarat,
back final. Only look like they're extending that with every passing stroke over those 2 crews from the Wilderness School. So we've tried, barring catastrophe, past the 1250 metre mark, and like all the best rowing, Chris, it looks effortless.
Yeah, that is lunge at this stage of the race, with half from the start. Brooke Cuttons, Zara Taylor, Gemma McLaren and Addison Rolls there with their coxswain Chloe Jaretta, coached by Kieron Glynn and Ray Boyle, as they both have done for so many years at the Queenwood School in Mossman in Sydney, who row out of Mossman Rowing Club, and have been a dominant force in both New South Wales and Australian rowing over the last decade or so. Produced many Australian athletes to the junior and under 23 teams over that time. And to Wilderness School and Unley High, the two South Australian crews who are having quite the tussle for the minor medals, and that our three podium contenders really separating themselves from the field. Friends in fourth, the second of the Queenwood crews there in fifth, Loretto Ballarat, Roseville and Loretto Ballarat in sixth, seventh and eighth. So tight battle there for sixth place with Loretto Ballarat, Lavinia Cushing, Tilly Stringer, Mia McChigu, Rosie Hunt and Tia Kinnersley just narrowly leading out the Roseville crew in lane one. Charlie Griebel, Emma Dupreez, Grace McKinlay, Hannah Alexander and Alex Davies, the coxswain, coached by big Jack Henderson in lane one there, and they're having a good tussle for the minor placings, but it won't be on the mind. It won't even be a thought that occurs to our race leaders from Queenwood as the Wilderness Schools start to fight back now, almost getting a little bit of overlap with about 225 metres left to row here in the A final of the Schoolgirls Coxed 4 Championship of Australia on the final day of racing at the 2024 Australian Rowing Championships. The Wilderness School and saying no thank you, I'll just very comfortable out here in the lead, and we'd like to stay there as their bow ball crosses the first of the red buoys that signify 100 metres left to row here at the Sydney International Regatta Centre. It has been all the way, it is going to be an all-the-way win for the crew from Queenwood. Brooke Cutton, Zara Taylor, Gemma McLaren, Addison Rolls and Chloe Doretta, coached by Kieron Glynn and Ray Boyle. Queenwood School will take the win. They will be national champions in the Schoolgirls Coxed 4. The Wilderness School from South Australia have battled all the way and will take the silver. Unley High, the second of the South Australian crews, will collect a bronze medal for their efforts today. The lane 3 combination from the Friends School in Tasmania finish half a boat length clear of the second of the two Queenwood combinations there in lane 7. Loretto Ballarat getting the best of a tussle with Roseville College, who will have to look out for the second of the Loretto Ballarat crews, who I think just pipped Roseville College on the line for 7th place.
Of medals for the Schoolboys Single Scull Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Chris Grummett, Rowing Australia Life member. In third place and bronze medalist representing Northern Beaches Secondary College, Harry Coddington. Harry is coached by Tom Schranko and Kieran Kabelke. In second place and silver medalist representing Scotch Oakburn College, Cameron Parker. Cameron is coached by Jim Wilson and Andrew Dick. Gold medalist and Australian champion for 2024, representing Churchill Senior High School, Remy Payne. Remy is coached by Kevin Neville. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our 2024 Australian champion and medalist. We're getting ready at the start now for race 536. It's the Schoolboys Coxed 4A final, and they are now underway, and this will be a fantastic race coming up. Lane 1, Brisbane Grammar. Lane 2, Ballarat Clarendon. Lane 3, the King's School. Lane 4, St Patrick's College Victoria. Lane 5, Launceston Grammar. Lane 6, Canberra Grammar. Lane 7, St Joseph's College. And Lane 8, St Augustine's College. So St Augustine's have dominated this event over the last few years. They are in lane 8 though, but certainly off to a fantastic start. The Brisbane Grammar crew, Isaac Spiller, Alistair Jackson, Bede Stuckey, Lachlan Smith, William Maher is their coxswain, and they're coached by Richard Powell, Daniel Horsley. Lane 2, Ballarat Clarendon, Stuart Hall, Max Mason, James Forsyth, Charlie McClure, Reece Belcher is their coxswain, coached by Ian Peel. Lane 3 from the King's School, Oscar Petrus, William Hurst, Louis Todd, Luke Fleet, Ty Watson is the cox, coached by Harrison Randell and Stephen Edwards. Lane 4, St Patrick's College, Ballarat, Ned Bennett, Angus Murfitt, Paddy O'Brien, Henry Reiner, Jarvis McLean is the cox, coached by David O'Doherty. In lane 5 from Launceston Grammar, Bailey Stewart, Augustin Sullivan Arkless, Oliver Quinn, George Beecham, Jamari Lockhart is their cox, and they're coached by James Cooming and Jack Barrett. Lane 6 from Canberra Grammar School, Harry Budd, Nicholas Vandervolt, Cameron Schmidt, Dylan Outram, Timothy Robson is the cox and coached by Chris Polychanan. Lane 7 from St Joseph's College, Brant Dreyer, Xavier Gersoy, Nicholas Callanan, Danny Cable, Darcy Willis is their cox, coached by Lachlan Miles. And St Augustine's, Jay Taylor, Max Tancred, Jason Cow, William Pender, Henry Goldsworthy is their coxswain, and they're coached by Bjarne and Judith Ungamak.
I tell you what, this race is going to go all the way down to the line here. We've got some very well credentialed crews and crews with a variety of different backgrounds here competing in this event. So the under-19 men's coxed 4 that we saw running on, I believe Friday it was, we saw Ballarat Clarendon from Victoria. You can see on your screen there over in the red zooties. They got up by just under 2 seconds from St Patrick's College, who are our early race leaders. Now, Ballarat Clarendon did lead that race from the early stages earlier on in the week, and this St Patrick's College crew seemed to have learnt from that race and coming out swinging in the early stages, approaching the 750 metre mark now, certainly in contention here with about half a boat length over the crew from Ballarat Clarendon in Tasmania, who didn't feature in that race earlier on in the regatta, but certainly looking every chance of a bronze medal in this schoolboys coxed 4. Fourth place is pretty tight between Brisbane Grammar there on the far side of the course and Canberra Grammar in lane 6, as those two crews, their battle may very well encroach upon the battle for the lead and lead us to a pretty good grandstand finish here as St Patrick's College in Victoria still sitting out in the lead, but Ballarat Clarendon, I want to say, just with a touch more momentum as crews approach the 1,000 metre mark. So that margin was 0.95 of a second at the 500, and in just a couple of strokes we'll get an update on that and see who has moved and who has the momentum going into the championship quarter of the race. So St Patrick's College 0.91 of a second ahead of Ballarat Clarendon. So Ballarat Clarendon perhaps just moving a little in the second quarter of this schoolboys coxed 4.
It looks like a battle between Ballarat for the schoolboys coxed 4s, but don't count out Launceston Grammar sitting in third place. Canberra Grammar in lane number 6 as well. They've been part of an 8 that's done very well at local regattas down in Canberra, going through a very strong Canberra Rowing Club crew that included Cormac Hayes, Tom Perry, James Waldersea in amongst all that, Nick Barnier. So certainly this young 4 from Canberra Grammar do have a bit going about them, and they are starting to move up now, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. As our early third place crew from Launceston Grammar are almost getting back on level terms with our leaders, and Ballarat Clarendon over on the far side of the course there in lane 2 going with them, and it is going to come right to as Ballarat Clarendon just poke out in front. They've got a little bit of margin now over St Patrick's College in Victoria. It is about a canvas. The coxswain of the Ballarat Clarendon crew, that's Reece Belcher, will be looking over his right-hand side, and as he looks square across the course, we'll see the bow ball of St Patrick's College Victoria. That'll be a very reassuring sight to see as they were left behind out of the starting blocks, and St Patrick's College in Victoria will now have to hold off the crew from Launceston Grammar, who are pushing hard in themselves to hold off that very well-credentialed Canberra Grammar crew, who are about 3/4 of a boat length there. So our top 3 crews all within about within less than a boat length of each other. We'll see them come across the 1500 metre mark now as the lead changes, and Ballarat Clarendon in front of St Patrick's College in Victoria, Launceston Grammar sitting in bronze, Canberra Grammar about a length back, and then a good little way back to the King's School in fifth. That's half of their second eight. Brisbane Grammar and St Joseph's College, which is half of their second eight as well. And St Augustine's just trailing the field at this stage of the race. We saw a great race from their Stern pair in the under-19 coxless 4 earlier in the week, but here in the schoolboy 4, not quite with the pace as Ballarat Clarendon look for that full boat length of lead here in the closing stages of the race. They've got about 400 metres left to row at the Sydney International Regatta Centre in the schoolboys Cox 4. St Patrick's College in Victoria, they went early and are paying the price for that now. Time will tell if they have the bickies left in the tank, the fuel left to mount a charge, but it looks to be a run that has been timed to perfection by Ballarat Clarendon there in lane 2, who are hanging on to that boat length lead, and the race will come on for the silver medal between Launceston Grammar, who have sat back there in the provisional bronze the entire way down the course, just nipping at the heels of St Patrick's College in Victoria. Ballarat Clarendon, they didn't lead out of the blocks. They got dropped off the line, but they had a decisive second 500 and a incredible move in the championship quarter to move through St Patrick's College in Victoria, who are trying to mount a late surge, but it'll be too little too late as Ballarat Clarendon work hard for it and time their run to perfection. Ballarat Clarendon will be the national champions in the schoolboys coxed 4. St Patrick's College in Victoria, as it was earlier in the week, will have to settle for the silver medal. Launceston Grammar will come home with the bronze. Canberra Grammar School for 4th place, the King's School in 5th, and it is going to be tight across the line. St Joseph's, then St Augustine's and Brisbane Grammar School for 6th, 7th and 8th in the schoolboy coxed 4.
So confirmation there, a win for Ballarat Clarendon College in the schoolboys coxed 4, second place to St Patrick's College Ballarat, with third to Launceston Grammar. Presentation of medals for the schoolgirls. The medals will be presented by in third place, and bronze medalists, Unley High. Their crew, Georgie Twelvetree, Felicity Cox, Tamara Bates, Eleanor Nettlefold, and their coxswain, Harriet Williams. They're coached by Daniel Ralph and Annalise Sizer. In second place, and silver medalists, the Wilderness School. Their crew, Marjorie Tucker, Isabel Jackson, Gia Rinaldi, Imogen Hawker, and their coxswain, Sophia Tayeb. They're coached by John Trovas. And our winners and gold medalist Australian champions for 2024, Queenwood School. Their crew, Brooke Cuttance, Zara Taylor, Gemma McLaren, Addison Rolls, Chloe Gioretta is their coxswain. They're coached by Kieran Glynn and Ray Boyle. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our 2024 Australian champions and medalists. We are underway in race number 537. It is the final of the club women's coxless 4. In lane 1 from Carrum Rowing Club in Victoria, we have Jess Fishman, Anna Lloyd-Smith, Morgan Dunham, Jackie Diebel, and coached by Drew Holman. Lane 2 from Sydney Rowing Club, Olivia Cassidy, Catherine Mason, Paige Critchlow, Eliza Dunlop, and coached by Lachlan Carter and Florence Griffiths. Lane 3 from Melbourne University, Emily McComb, Tiffany Crosthwaite, Felicity Murray, and Yolanda Hooper. Lane 4 from Sydney Rowing Club, Freya Neville, Amelia Crocker, Hannah Keating, Isabel Fura, and coached by Lachlan Carter and Florence Griffiths. Lane 5 from Mercantile Rowing Club, Freya Axton, Louisa Stocks, Addison Luce, Louise Carr, coached by Peter Somerville. Lane 6 from Buckingham Rowing Club, Courtney Blythe, Jess Stevens, Julie Jansons, Verena Zilm, and coached by Abby Rowe. Lane 7 from Adelaide Rowing Club, Anna Collins, Rachel Cope, Erica Webb, Mika Webb, and they're coached by Darren Potts and Ron Mobbs. And lane 8 from the University of New South Wales Rowing Club, Annabelle Singh, Elizabeth Raffin, Olivia Zago, Anna Ristic, and coached by Chris Burns and Cameron Butler. As we just see there, the Sydney Rowing Club crew out in front at the moment, and certainly looking very good through those early stages there, Chris. That's a crew in lane number 4, stroked by Isabel Fura.
Yeah, this crew went out to the New South Wales State Championships and had a really competitive row in a field completely full of National Training Centre combinations, and leading by 4.4 seconds in the first 500 metres, and it is going to be hard to say that anyone's going to come close to that Sydney Rowing Club 4 in this race. They're certainly a step above, and they dominated in the heat and really took things down. So the eyes will all be on the minor placings in this race, as Buckingham from Tasmania just narrowly lead out Melbourne University Boat Club, and the second of the Sydney Rowing Club crews just trailing behind, looking to get 2 crews on the podium, but the second combination there with a little bit of work to do in the middle of this race, as we see a little bit of steering going on from the crew in lane 5 from Mercantile, Freya Axton, Louisa Stocks, Addison Luce, and Louise Carr just coming unstuck there as they tussle for the minor placings with Adelaide Rowing Club, Carrum, and the University of New South Wales here in the club women's coxless 4.
So through 750 metres, and again, great vision there. You can definitely see Sydney Rowing Club out in front of Buckingham, and then back across to Melbourne University in 3rd place, and then Mercantile, Sydney. Adelaide Rowing Club not entirely out of it. One of their members in the 3 seat, I think she is, Rachel Cope, learned to row 3 years ago out at ANU, posted across with the Australian Army to Adelaide about 18 months or so ago, and is a percussionist in the Australian Army Band. Got into rowing through somebody that she knew, Ben Lim, who she met, who was a friend of hers down in Tasmania. They both moved up to Canberra, were in the RMC band at Duntroon for a couple of years, and now Ben's up in Brisbane with the Toowong Rowing Club. So big shout out, Ben, if you're watching on. G'day, and come back to Canberra.
So we see that Sydney Rowing Club crew just stretching out to 5.3 seconds. They won't be two-faced here, and may even have to think about conserving some energy for the 8 later on in this morning's program. Buckingham there in 2nd place, leading by almost a boat length now from the Melbourne University Boat Club, and Mercantile, after those steering issues about 400 metres ago, just staying in front of the second of the Sydney Rowing Club combinations, who are currently sitting back in 4th place, or 5th place rather, outside of the medals. Adelaide Rowing Club, that crew who are rowing with a fantastic rhythm with the percussionist in the 3 seat, just leading Carrum, and the University of New South Wales sitting back in 8th place, just a little bit out of proceedings here in the club women's coxless 4, but that's Sydney Rowing Club crew, Freya Neville, Amelia Crocker, Hannah Keating, and Izzy Farah. Very well-credentialed crew. Freya Neville from Kinross, Wallaroy, and had a fantastic junior stint, and represented Australia at the under-21 level, I believe, last year. And the 2 Brits in the centre of the boat there, Amelia Crocker and Hannah Keating, I believe, both of Thames. Happy to be standard corrected there. And Izzy Farah in the stroke seat, who won a couple of youth eights for New South Wales, as well as a silver medal at the 2018 World Rowing Junior Championships in the Czech Republic in the Junior Women's Coxed 4, the first year of that event being run in quite some time, and taken by Lachlan Carter, as is this one alongside Florence Griffiths. See both of them cycling along this race with keen interest. As Buckingham still leading Melbourne University, who've come back a little bit in the third 500. Mercantile about a length out of things at the moment, and the second of the Sydney Rowing Club crews sitting back in 5th place, Adelaide in 6th, and Carrum and University of New South Wales just trailing the rest of the field here in the club women's coxless 4. So these club events need to be reminded as we do a couple of these club events this morning in between our schools. All of these athletes cannot have represented Australia in the last year, and they cannot be nominated for an under-23 or senior Australia team after the 31st of January of the year of competition. So
I believe, though, that if you are a para-athlete, you can enter into a club event.
yes, we saw, I believe Tom Birtwistle did one a couple of years ago. Yes, you can. Yep. Same with the similar concessions at the Henley Royal Regatta in the club events, where we've seen a couple of members of the GB Para 4 race for Leander in recent years and win the Thames 8. So a very similar sort of level of classification, and no doubt the Henley Royal Regatta will be on the minds of these girls in the Sydney Rowing Club crew. As Sydney Rowing Club, the combination there in the centre of the course, Freya Neville, Amelia Crocker, Hannah Keating and Izzy Farah, coached by Lachlan Carter and Florence Griffiths, have taken all the way win, never looking challenged here in the club women's coxless 4. They'll be your national champions in this event, and as Melbourne University's try to mount a late surge on that, Buckingham Rowing Club of Tasmania, so Sydney Rowing Club will be national champions in the club women's coxless 4. Buckingham from Tasmania will come home for the silver medal. Melbourne University Boat Club in the bronze. Mercantile in 4th place, just outside the medals. The second of the Sydney Rowing Club crews will be under threat for a late challenge from Adelaide, who I think will go to a photo. Green colours on the far side of the course in 7th place, and the University of New South Wales in lane 8 will finish in 8th.
It's confirmation in the club women's coxless 4s, a win for Sydney Rowing Club, 2nd place to Buckingham Rowing Club, and 3rd to Melbourne University. Presentation of medals for the Schoolboys Coxed 4 Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Chris Grummett, Rowing Australia Life member. In 3rd place, and bronze medalists, Launceston Grammar. Their crew of Bailey Stewart, Augustin Sullivan Arkless, Oliver Quinn, George Beecham, and their coxswain Jamari Lockhart. Their coach representing St Patrick's College Ballarat. Their crew Ned Bennett, Angus Murfitt, Paddy O'Brien, and Henry Reiner. Their coxswain Jarvis McLean, and coached by David O'Doherty. Gold medalists and Australian champions for 2024, Ballarat Clarendon College. The crew of Stuart Hall, Max Mason, James Forsyth, Charlie McClure, and their coxswain, Reece Belcher. They're coached by Ian Peel. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our 2024 Australian champions and medalists. As we move now back to the action on the course, it's the club men's coxless 4. Can Sydney Rowing Club make it 2 from 2? In lane 1, we have Mercantile, the crew of Hamish Nicol, Jake Pokinghorn, Oliver Scalzo and Harry Cathcart. Lane 2 from UTS Haberfield Rowing Club, Wheel Club, Jack Power, James O'Meara, Luca Malozzi, coached by Matthias Ungermack and Sam Fennessy. Lane 3 from Melbourne University, Martin O'Leary, Joe O'Connell, Sam Morrison and Jonathan Hookway. Lane 4 from Sydney Rowing Club, James Fredrickson, Galen Quinn, Toby Tegg, Declan Glendenning, coached by Donovan Seck, Shane Mulvaney and Franz Imfield. That same coaching crew taking the crew in lane 5, Torrin Olsen, MacArthur Bucknell, Isaac Thurman, Tom Cregan from Sydney Rowing Club. Lane 6 from Mercantile Rowing Club, we have Charlie Clark, Lachlan Wilmot, Barry Connolly and Jack Ivers. Lane 7 from Sydney Rowing Club, Flynn Wilkinson, Angus Aitken, Luke Sharam, Henry Cross, coached by Donovan Seck, Shane Mulvaney and Franz Imfield. And then lane 8 from Melbourne University, Benjamin Simons, Cameron Mackenzie McCarg, Tom Hooper and Mitchell Hooper. And in a sight that will gladden my co-commentator greatly, it's Sydney Rowing Club leading Sydney Rowing Club at the top of the pack.
Yeah, these two crews were easily the fastest qualifiers in the heats of this event. But what was really interesting was that they were in separate heats, within half a second of each other at every single timing point the entire way down the course. We'll see these two crews combined to form the Club 8 later on this morning, and it'll be really fascinating to see which one of them can get the better of each other here in the fours this morning. As they look for Sydney Rowing Club Quinella, we can see the crew in lane 5 leading there. It's Torrin Olsen in the bow seat, MacArthur Bucknell, Isaac Thurnham and Tom Cregan. Torrin and Crego, the epitome of club rowers here, both full-time workers and very full-time workers, as Torrin Olsen actually added me on LinkedIn this morning. So hustling the connections at all times as they connect well with the water and move out to 1.5 seconds ahead of their club mates over in lane 4.
Yeah, not a lot to pick between the crews towards the back there. It's Mercantile leading UTS, and then pretty much anyone's guess as to who out of Melbourne University, the third Sydney crew, Mercantile and Melbourne University are going to go through. We've got Galen Quinn sitting in the 2 seat of that second Sydney Rowing Club crew. The big fella from Chicago. He met a young lady over in the University of Wisconsin and has now moved to Australia. So lovely fella, Galen.
And are you going to tell me that the young lady that he met is from Canberra?
The young lady that he met is from Canberra, Taylor Caudle. Moved up rowing with Sydney University. It's not the first one we've seen that's where they've partners have joined 2 different clubs. Down in Canberra, we've got Sophie Gerapetritis, who'll be out a little bit later in the club women's double. She rows for ANU, and James Waldersee, her husband, rowing for Canberra Rowing Club, where I believe he's one of the committee members there.
Yeah, both he was formerly the captain of UTS Haberfield. He certainly does a little bit of a teal streak in his blood, but now certainly loving life in the territory. As we see Donovan Seck and Shane Mulvaney there on the bike, coaching the 2 leading crews in this race, Sydney Rowing Club, the crew of Olsen, Cregan, Thurnham and Bucknell leading by about a boat length and a half from their club mates. That's the crew of James Fredrickson, Galen Quinn, Toby Tegg and Declan Glendenning. 3/4 of that crew took a bronze medal in the under-23 coxless 4 earlier on in the week. UTS Haberfield sitting in the provisional bronze medal position. That crew was second fastest in the heats, but had to row the repechage as they were relegated due to an underweight boat. The winners out of that situation were the Melbourne University crew in lane 8, who progressed straight through to the final. Benjamin Simons, Cameron McKenzie-McCarg, the Olympic silver medalist, Tom Hooper and Mitchell Hooper from the illustrious Hooper family, stroking that combination, who are currently sitting back in 6th place at the moment, behind the 2 mercantile crews in 4th and 5th, who have a little bit of work to do if they want to encroach on the medals. We see some fantastic footage of the leading Sydney Rowing Club crew there, looking every bit the chances, or almost certainty, for the national championship in the club men's coxless 4. It's looking to be a Sydney Rowing Club Quinella here, and a 2 in a row in the club events for the light blue athletes from Abbotsford. 100 metres to go now as we see Soren Olsen, MacArthur Bucknell, Isaac Thurnham and Tom Cregan. They're rowing in the Michael Morgan in the closing strokes of the race. They'll be your national champions in the club men's coxless 4. It'll be Sydney Rowing Club 1-2, the silver medalists going the way of James Fredrickson, Galen Quinn, Toby Tegg and Declan Glendenning. Ahead of UTS Haberfield, so an all New South Wales podium here. Will Clubb, Jack Power, James O'Meara and Luca Malozzi. A tight battle for 4th as the 2 mercantile crews go head to head, and Melbourne University Boat Club just finishing in front of the 3rd Sydney Rowing Club crew in this event, and the 2nd Melbourne University Boat Club crew in lane 3. Martin O'Leary, Joe O'Connell, Sam Morrison and Jonathan Hookway rounding out the second of our club events this morning, the club men's coxless 4.
Presentation of Australia. The medals will be presented by John Boltby, AM, Rowing Australia Life Member. Melbourne University. Their crew, Emily McComb, Tiffany Crosthwaite, Felicity Murray, and Yolanda Hooper. Second place and silver medalists, Buckingham Rowing Club. Their crew, Courtney Blythe, Jess Stevens, Julie Jansens, and Verena Zilm. They're coached by Abby Crow. And our gold medalists and Australian champions for 2024, Sydney Rowing Club. Their crew, Freya Neville, Amelia Crocker, Hannah Keating, Isabel Fura, and they're coached by Lachlan Carter and Florence Griffiths. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our 2024 Australian champions and medalists. We are underway in a historic race, race 539. For the first time ever, we have the schoolgirls double sculls. It's the A final and they are racing for the inaugural Shelford Cup. In lane 1 from Loreto Ballarat, we have Emma Gowans and Meg Lynch, coached by Brad Butel and Paul Blanchfield. Lane 2 from Haileybury, we have Clodagh McCarthy and Kate McNeil, coached by Andrew McNeil and Susan Andrews. Lane 3 from Loreto Normanhurst, Stella Moore and Patricia Boland, coached by Thomas Parker. In lane 4 from St Peter's Lutheran College in Queensland, Eva Hosking and Summer Phillips, coached by David Vandas and Nigel Stubbs. Lane 5 from St Patrick's College Townsville, Lily Bragg and Emily Edison, coached by Harrison Parks. Lane 6 and Lucinda Johnston, coached by Nick Wells. In lane 7 from St Patrick's College Townsville, Georgia Cresswell and Holly Wilkie, coached by Harrison Parks. And lane 8 from St Patrick's Townsville, Iluka Hammond and Keely Adabar, also coached by Harrison Parks. So hoping as we see Chris McCarthy move out of the commentary box and Richard Dorstein move in. Richard, I'm kind of hoping that the Townsville crews are able to go like the Cowboys last night and absolutely blitz it.
Yeah, well, it is. They're racing for the Shelford Cup, but this is the St Patrick's Townsville race at this stage. 3 crews of the 8 in the field here, and 1 out in front as they do now head through into the first quarter of the race. The combination from of Lily Bragg and Emily Edison, coached by Harrison Parks. The leaders by over a length now, so a very good start over the first 500 metres to St Patrick's of Townsville. St Peter's Lutheran College, also from Queensland, there in second place. Eva Hosking and Summer Phillips. Loreto Normanhurst were in third. Stella Moore and Patricia Boland. And then 2 more combinations from St Patrick's Townsville racing at the bottom of the screen there. Lane 7 and 8, Georgia Creswell and Holly Wilkie, Luca Hammond and Keely Adabar. But this is the first ever race for the Shelford Cup. The first time there's been a schoolgirls double scull event at the National Championships, and the trophy is named in to recognise the efforts of the Shelford Girls Grammar School from Melbourne, who were very, very integral in the event coming into the National Championship calendar. So the Shelford Cup will be the perpetual trophy for this race. Be sure Shelford racing for the Shelford Cup too. They had 2 double sculls that both qualified for the B final, finished in 4th and 5th place a couple of races ago. But it will be the Shelford Cup awarded for the first time to the winners of this race, and it's looking very good, certainly, for the North Queenslanders at this stage.
Yeah, Lily Bragg and Emily Edison with that lead. St Peter's Lutheran College, also from Queensland, Eva Hosking and Summer Phillips sitting next to them, just over a boat length back. And they're having a lovely battle paddle with the Loreto Normanhurst crew of Stella Moore and Patricia Boland. So they're our 1, 2 and 3 at the moment. But certainly a nice little lead through the early stages. But again, it's always that threat in the back of your mind, isn't it, Richard, that whether or not when you see a crew go out to an early lead, is that going to inspire them to hold on to it, or have they used all their tickets early?
Exactly. It's the eternal question, and we'll get the answer over the next 3 or 4 minutes. But certainly St Pat's of Townsville doing a very strong job. They've extended the lead slightly again. I think coming through possibly into second place now might be Stella Moore and Patricia Boland of Loreto Normanhurst, ahead now of St Peter's Lutheran College. They're very tight between those 2, but at the halfway mark, it's now a length and a half, so 3.88 seconds. St Patrick's Townsville over Loreto Normanhurst and St Peter's, and St Patrick's still there in 4th and 5th. The lane 8 combination leading just from lane 7. Haileybury over there in lane 2 are in 6th place. 2 of the busiest athletes from this regatta, Clodagh McCarthy and Kate McNeil there. And the remaining 2 crews then, Loreto Ballarat and also Toorak College, 2 more Victorian combinations, but they sit towards the rear of the field. It's certainly looking very good here for Lily Bragg and Emily Edison. Lily Bragg had a lot of success in the past year or 2 racing with Sarah Burke from St Patrick's College of Townsville. Now in this fight with Emily Edison, and they are leading by over a length with 2/3 of the race completed in the final race for them of the National Championships in the race for the Shelford Cup.
Yeah, Loreto Normanhurst, Moore and Boland now just starting to move up. We're not quite at the overlap, but certainly getting a lot closer. And it's worthwhile mentioning there, Richard, Clodagh McCarthy and Kate McNeil, I believe, are only about 15 years old each. So given the amount of races that they've had, they did very well in the pairs, very well in the doubles earlier on, and now doing very well here, making the A final of the inaugural schoolgirl double scull.
Indeed, and did very well, as we mentioned a few times, the last weekend, so down in Geelong. where Kate McNeil won the Year 10 single scull and Clodagh McCarthy won the Open single scull. So they've certainly had a very successful period of racing here. But at this stage, they do sit a few lengths behind the leading crews in the centre of the course. And still it is that crew from St Patrick's of Townsville, Bragg and Edison, out in front and looking still to be reasonably comfortably clear. They haven't really changed their relative position much over the last few hundred metres. We're still Loretto Normanhurst second, St Peter's Lutheran from Brisbane just dropping back a little bit into third, but still very much in medal contention. And just a need there for our leading crew to ensure they do stay towards the centre of their lane. They are getting close to the boys on their bow side, it looked like there, the combination from Townsville, but it hasn't stopped their speed in a forward direction. 3.31 seconds, so that gap has shrunk just a little over the third 500. Loretto Normanhurst are there in a second, back to St Peter's in third place.
St Patrick's Townsville, the second and third crew sitting in fourth and fifth. So they'll have a nice little battle paddle out for those minor placings. Then Haileybury, Toorak College, and then back to the Loretto Ballarat crew in lane number one. But it's the crew from Townsville who have the lead. They've looked very comfortable out in front now for quite a while. This is the crew of Lily Bragg and Emily Edison. We can see the Y5 out in front and still looking very comfortable, not trying to overrate it, not trying to go too quickly or get caught up in the emotion of what's going on at the moment, and still with that Clearwater lead, although we are seeing a push now from Loretto Normanhurst, Stella Moore and Patricia Boland. They've moved up into second place ahead of Eva Hosking and Summer Phillips from St Peter's Lutheran College. As we just see now, the 250 mark coming into view. The grandstand will be out on their out the left-hand side of their eye very soon. They'll see out the right-hand side of the eye. That second place crew from Loretto Normanhurst are still over a boat length back. They're in the prime position, 250 metres to go. They're racing for the inaugural Shelford Cup Championship of Australia.
St Peter's College moving St Peter's Lutheran, I should say, moving into in lane 4 in third place, but they are both making up some ground on the crew that has seemed to lead this race right from the very start. But St Patrick's College of Townsville, the crew coached by Harrison Parks, Lily Bragg and Emily Edison there in the front. They've still got over a length, and the Loretto Normanhurst just look to be dying on their run a little. St Peter's maybe a chance to snatch the silver medal back after being in second place for a large part of the race. It looks like it will be a Queensland Quinella in the first ever race for the Shelford Cup, and it's going to go all the way up to North Queensland. Lily Bragg and Emily Edison will win for St Patrick's College Townsville. They take out the Shelford Cup, the Schoolgirls Double Scull Championship of Australia. St Peter's Lutheran fought back well and will take second. Eva Hosking medal. Fourth will go to St Patrick's lane 7, and fifth will go to St Patrick's lane 8. So 5 crews in the top 2, and the top 3 crews, I should say, in the top 5 there. Toorak College across the line with Haileybury and also Loretto Ballarat.
It's a confirmation, a win for St Patrick's College Townsville, taking out the first ever Schoolgirls Double Scull Championship of Australia. Lily Bragg and Emily Edison finishing ahead of Eva Hosking and Summer Phillips from St Peter's Lutheran College in Queensland. Loretto Normanhurst, Stella Moore and Patricia Boland in third. Presentation of medals for the Club Men's Coxless Ford Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by John Boltby, AM, Rowing Australia Life member. In third place, and bronze medalists, UTS Haberfield Rowing Club. Their crew, Will Club, Jack Power, James O'Meara, and Luca Malozzi. They're coached by Matthias Ungermack and Sam Fennessy. Second place and silver medalists, Sydney Rowing Club. Their crew, James Fredrickson, Galen Quinn, Toby Tegg, and Declan Glendinning. They're coached by Donovan Seck, Shane Mulvaney and Franz Imfield. And gold medalists and Australian champions for 2024, Sydney Rowing Club. Their crew, Torin Olsen, MacArthur Bucknell, Isaac Thurman, and Tom Cregan. They're coached by Donovan Seck, Shane Mulvaney and Franz Imfeld. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our 2024 Australian champions and medalists. We are underway in race number 540. It's the inaugural Schoolboys Double Scull Championship of Australia. Lane 1 from Unley High, Nate Lesu and Thomas Osborne, coached by Daniel Ralph. Lane 2 from Brisbane State High School, Owen Johnson and Ruben Brosnan, coached by Tom Riles and Tom Herborn. In lane 3 from Western Heights College in Victoria, Tadba and Xander Bailey, coached by Ian Bridgeland and Jeff Watt. Lane 4 from Scotch Oakburn College in Tasmania, Ollie Dowling and Cameron Parker, coached by Jim Wilson and Andrew Dick. In lane 5 from Norwood International High in South Australia, Nicholas Halulis and Oliver Evans-Wood, coached by Brenton Terrell and Alexander Worthington. Lane 6 from Northern Beaches Secondary College, Tobias Elias and William Robertson, coached by Tom Schranko and Kieran Kabelke. Lane 7 from Newcastle Grammar, Lucas Burton and Ronan Brown, coached by Brad Smith. And lane 8 from Cranbrook School, Lachlan Larson and Jack Stone, and they're coached by Adrian Henning and Sam Carroll. And again, Richard, we've got another fascinating race coming on ahead of us, but the crew from South Australia, Norwood International
4 seconds after 500 metres on the combination from Geelong. That's the Western Heights College from Geelong. As they go through 1,000 metres, we'll see that the second and third place crews have changed a little, but the lead still comfortably with Norwood International High. Secondary College now up into second place. Scotch Oakburn from Launceston were in third there, about 3 seconds further back. Western Heights College, the Bailey twins from Geelong, narrowly now in fourth place. Then Unley High, Newcastle Grammar School, Cranbrook and Brisbane State High School. And certainly a true national championships race here in this new event with crews from South Australia, Queensland, Victoria, Tasmania. 2 crews, in fact, from South Australia and 3 from New South Wales. So great majority of the Australian states represented in this event. The first ever race for the Schoolboys at Double Scull Championship of Australia. And Norwood International High, Nicholas Halulis and Oliver Evans-Wood at this stage, looking very good to get their hands on the prize the first time this race has been held at the Nationals.
Yeah, but I wouldn't count out Tobias Elias and William Robertson. They're part of college here in the school. Belkey. They've had some fantastic results throughout the season, so that junior Mossman program really have some good results throughout the course of this regatta. And They are sitting comfortably in second place. So we've got Norwood International High, Northern Beaches Secondary, and then Scotch Oakburn leading the battle for the bronze at the moment. So it'll be fascinating again just to see how they go through that last 500 metres. Are they able to make up the ground on the South Australians, or do Nicholas Halulis and Oliver Evans-Wood just have the absolute advantage?
Yep, they've gone through the into the final 500 metres now. It's a 4.35 second lead to Northern Beaches Secondary College, but Norwood International High over Northern Beaches Secondary College. Scotch Oakburn do lead the race for third now by under a length from Unley High, Western Heights College, Newcastle Grammar, Brisbane State High School, and also Cranbrook. So it was looking like a pretty interesting race for bronze, but the combination from Tasmania, the Scotch Oakburn College, are pushing themselves almost a length clear now of Ewan Johnson and Ruben Brosnan. In fact, it's the far side there, Unley High, Nate Leshue and Thomas Osborne, who'd be in fourth place. And then Western Heights College from Geelong, the Bailey twins, Ty Bailey and Xander Bailey, in the closing strokes here of the double scull race. So they've got about 250 metres to go. The lead still sits there with Norwood International High, Nicholas Halulis and Oliver Evans-Wood, who maintain that margin. It may have shrunk a little, but it's still clear water over Northern Beaches Secondary College. The Mossman combination there, Tobias Elias and William Robertson in second place. And that blue boat from Scotch Oakburn College in Launceston in the north of Tasmania, where of course we'll be in a year's time from now at the 2025 Australian Rowing Championships in Lake Barrington. But looks like it might be a bronze medal coming up for the Tasmanians. A clear of Unley High and Western Heights College, and they're finishing quickly as well, but no match for our race leaders, Nicholas Halulis and Oliver Evans-Wood from Norwood International High. They're coached by Brenton Terrell and Alexander Worthington. They've got about 40 metres to go, and they will claim the first ever running of the Schoolboys Double Scull Championship of Australia. 2 lengths clear. The win goes to Norwood International High. Northern Beaches Secondary College will finish in second. The Scotch Oakburn crew in the blue boat will claim the bronze medal on lane 4. Fourth and fifth will be tight, but on the far side, Unley High from South Australia, just ahead of Western Heights College from Geelong in fifth place. Sixth will go to Cranbrook, ahead then of Brisbane State High School and also Newcastle Grammar.
As we just see our final crews crossing the line, Brisbane State High and then the Cranbrook School. Just a piece of trivia for you so far in these events. We have had in the school events so far today, ACT, Radford College, WA, Churchlands High School, Queenwood, New South Wales, Ballarat, Clarendon, Victoria, St Patrick's, Townsville, Queensland, and now Norwood International High School, South Australia. 6 states, all with winners in the school events so far. Presentation of medals for the Schoolgirls Double Scull Championship of Australia. The medals and the Shelford Cup will be presented by Julian Whitehead, Shelford Director of Rowing, Zoe Kirkilis and Ilana Siralan, the 2024 rowing captains. Third place and bronze medalists, Loretto Normanhurst. Their crew, Stella Moore and Patricia Boland. They're coached by Thomas Parker. Second place and silver medalists, St Peter's Lutheran College. Their crew, Eva Hosking and Summer Phillips. They're coached by David Vandis and Nigel Stubbs. And our gold medalists and Australian champions for 2024, St Patrick's College, Townsville. Their crew, Lily Bragg and Emily Edison. They're coached by Harrison Parks. The Shelford Cup will now be presented by Julian Whitehead. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our 2024 Australian champions and medalists. We are now underway. It's the A final of the Under-17 Schoolgirls Coxed 8s. In lane 1 from Scotch College, Adelaide, Saffron Miller, Clementine Launay, Ava Belcher Lynch, Evie Sangster, Harriet Twelftree, Stella Spalvins, Izzy McTaggart, Sienna Bailey, Leah Struick is their coxswain. Lane 2, St Catherine's School, New South Wales, Genevieve Links, Eva Hunstead, Holly Corcoran, Tiali Morgan, Imogen Baldassar, Matisse Borthwick, Freya Gaston, Florence Hennessy, Georgia Parks is their coxswain. Lane 3 from Loretto Turak, Minty Clemens, Zara Bear, Zara Brakovic, Luca McComas, Grace Kennedy, Olivia Fay, Lucy Woods, Isla Quick, Josie Grave is their coxswain. Lane 4 from Ballarat Grammar, Cleo Tyndall, Lara Golan, Bess Morrison, Kate Johnson, Alice Booth, Lily Geddes, Riley Walker, Olivia Beachy, Alexis Timms is their coxswain. Lane 5, Kinross Walleroy, Rani Yarik, Isabel Grout, Molly Mason, Mari Wiley, Grace Tancred, Ruby Lego, Maddie O'Brien, Lucy Reedy and Jane Bruce is the cox. Lane 6, Scotch Oakburn College from Tasmania, Isabella Skirving, Georgia Veerhouse, Emily Nags, Emily Arthurton, Madison Marshall, Isabella Wilson, Charlie Barron, Saffron Dick, Lily Clark is their cox. Lane 7, PLC Perth, Presbyterian Ladies College Perth, Bridie Swingler, Arabella Dunn, Sana Burt, Amelia Corbett, Celia Rosser, Fenella Cox, Ruby Davis, Tara Swingler, Laura Gillum is their coxswain. And lane 8, Canberra Girls Grammar, Elise Hinksman, Lucy Cordaris, Meg Story, Charlotte Bowen, Mia Wiley, Elkie Spiller, Grace Disney, Sophie Murphy, Heidi Bell is their coxswain. Kinross Walleroy with the lead. But Richard, if we see Scotch Oakburn go through with the win, it would be 7 schools events in all 7 states and territories with a win in those schools events.
Yeah, remarkable to see the spread of results already, and certainly there's a good chance here for Tasmania in the form of Scotch Oakburn, who claimed a bronze medal in the previous race and currently sitting in silver medal contention, but behind a very good crew from Kinross Walleroy, who were the race leaders after 500 metres. The combination from Kinross, 1.91 seconds they had on Scotch Oakburn, who was second. PLC Perth were third. Loretto Turak in that distinctive blue boat you can see behind Ballarat Grammar School in the centre of the course. So plenty of chances here from right across the country once again.
And I think we're going to be calling Kinross in the lead quite a bit for the next hour or so. Kinross Walleroy, very, very fantastic rowing school out there in Orange in regional New South Wales, and certainly with that lead over Scotch Oakburn and really opening it up. There seems to be a Kinross way of rowing, and that is to open up that early lead. We'll see them in the 8s, we'll see them in the quad sculls, and unsurprisingly, we're seeing them in the lead here.
It is the simplest and possibly most effective race plan, especially in school racing. So often you can see your crew go out in front and establish it. They have there a Clearwater lead, so the rest of the field has pretty much lost contact with our race leaders there in the light blue boat from Kinross Walleroy. But behind them, what a race it might turn out to be for the rest of the medals. Scotch Oakburn, Loretto Turak, PLC Perth, Ballarat Grammar School, all about 2.5 seconds between them in the race for second, third, fourth and a fifth. And it is certainly Kinross Walleroy who have gone out to a very strong lead here into the third 500 now of this race. They were the winners of the Schoolgirls Head of the River here at the Sydney International Regatta Centre a few weeks ago, beating home on that day the crew from St Catherine's of Sydney over in lane 2 by about 9 seconds. So they're used to winning races by substantial margins, the Kinross Walleroy crews. But behind them, this is the action in the race for the other medals there. You can see St Catherine's towards the far side, Scotch College in the yellow caps, Ballarat Grammar School there as well, with their inspirational and long-serving coach Robert Draffin in control of that crew, along with Marty Francis, and very much in the mix for the medals too. Blue boat of Loretto Turak, which is been rowing in quad sculls, I believe, the Loretto crews this year. They were very dominant at the head of the schoolgirls last weekend, cleaning up in most of the quad scull races, in fact. So a combination here of their winning Division 1 and Division 2 quad sculls. Now in the blue boat for Loretto Turak, the dark blue boat of Loretto chasing the light blue boat of Kinross Walleroy.
Yeah, just over a boat length now between Kinross and Loretto Turak. So with it all to play for. But you can see there that footage. I mean, it's fantastic drone footage that we've got. The battle for bronze is well and truly on. So either side of Kinross, we've got Ballarat Grammar on the left-hand side of the screen, Scotch Oakburn from Tasmania on the right-hand side, PLC Perth also in there with a chance. It's still Kinross with the lead. 1,500 metres down, well over a boat length. They're looking comfortable out in front. Loretto Toorak in second. Then third, Scotch Oakburn. PLC Perth and Ballarat Grammar, 0.05 between them. And St Catherine's School, New South Wales, a little bit behind. Scotch College Adelaide in seventh place. And then Canberra Girls Grammar in eighth place as they're coming now into the final stages. And it's still Kinross out in front. Loretto Toorak sitting in second. Who's going to take bronze? You just could not guess it at the moment. It's all coming down for a medal at a 500 sprint at the end of a 1,500 metre race.
Yeah, we saw some great sprint racing yesterday afternoon, and it's going to be exactly the same here over the final section of this race. But Kinross Walleroy well clear here in the race for the Under-17 Schoolgirls 8 Cox 8 Championship of Australia. It may well be the light blue boat and the dark blue boat in the top two spots here with Loretto Toorak a couple of lanes across. They were fourth after 500 metres, so have moved their way through the field steadily to be now in a clear silver medal position. And then behind them, it's Ballarat Grammar School, Scotch Oakburn and PLC Perth. The three chances for the bronze probably at this stage would favour the Tasmanians narrowly, but ever so narrowly, with PLC Perth there in the green colours moving up strongly as well. There wasn't much between them with 500 to row, and there's still not with about 150 left in the race. And it is the combination from Kinross Walleroy. Look at the size of the peloton too on the far side of the course. These school eights make their way into the closing strokes. Kinross Walleroy leading it from Loretto Toorak. PLC Perth, a very strong finish too, coming up from the crew from Western Australia. Ahead now of Scotch Oakburn and Ballarat Grammar School. But it's going to be Kinross Walleroy from Orange in the central west of New South Wales who will take out the win in the Under-17 Schoolgirls Cox 8. Kinross first on lane 5, almost 2 lengths to margin. A big win, and they're excited, that crew, now as they come across. Second will go to Loretto Toorak lane 3, and the bronze to PLC Perth in the end by just under half a length ahead of Scotch Oakburn and Ballarat Grammar School. Fourth and fifth for the Victorian combination there. Sixth and seventh is tight. Lane 2 surges late. I think St Catherine's have pinched sixth place. Seventh to Scotch Adelaide, and eighth will go to the crew from Canberra Girls Grammar School.
So a win for Kinross Walleroy in the Under-17 Schoolgirls at Cox State. Second place to Loretto Toorak, and third to PLC Perth. Presentation of medals for the Schoolboys Double Scull Championship of Australia by Sally Leake, Rowing Australia Director. In third place and bronze medalists, Scotch Oakburn College. Their crew Ollie Dowling and Cameron Parker. They're coached by Jim Wilson and Andrew Dick. Second place and silver medalists, Northern Beaches Secondary College. Their crew Tobias Elias and William Robertson. They're coached by Tom Schranko and Kieran Kabelki. Our gold medalists and Australian champions for 2024, Norwood International High. The winning crew of Nicholas Halulis and Oliver Evans-Wood. They're coached by Brenton Terrell and Alexander Worthington. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our 2024 Australian champions and medalists. Our crews poised and ready at the start of race number 542, the Under-17 Schoolboys Cox State Final. Lane 1, St Ignatius College, Alexander Kerr, Archer Hartman, William Bryant, Noah Coble, Hamish Walker, Edward Ruddick, Julian Carr, Thomas McClintock, Nicholas Colbert is the coxswain, and they're coached by Jackson Garrels and James Benson. We'll see the crews lined up, getting ready to go. Lane 2 from Trinity Grammar Q, Charlie Harris, Patrick Ford, Matthew Talty, Spencer James, Joe Samatino, Will Johnson, Daytona Debogosian, James Delvin, Oscar Casson is their coxswain, and they're coached by Ashling Moten and Lachlan Goller and Jackson Harrison. So we just wait now for the start. It's always the most nervous you get, waiting for those orders. You can see the attention is on. And we are underway in the A final of the schoolboys Cox States. Going back to the crews, Lane 3, St Joseph's College, Ari Geach, Samuel Spork, Joseph Lane, Bryn Whitaker, Henry Troy, Matthew Pass, Thomas Curran, Tate Fredrickson, Lachlan Moulders is their coxswain, and they're coached by Henry Ryan. Lane 4, the King's School, Sam McLean, Oscar Parsons, Hugo Yates, Jeremy Blatchford, Hamish Matthews, Duke Millwood, Lockie Rogers, Nicholas Plattis, Louis Hodgson is their coxswain. They're coached by David Gelly and Ed Yorston. Lane 5 from the Shore School, Henry Wheeler, George Scammell, Austin Hamilton, Ben McCutchinson, Luke Robinson, Hamish Gilligan, Harrison Frape, Oliver Paris, Oscar Miller is their coxswain. They're coached by David Jennings. Lane 6 from the Hutchins School in Tasmania, Hugh West, Jack Knowles, Mark Healy, Hugo Saunders, Hamish Cooper, Noah Leesong, George Leesong, Henry Merchant. Freddie Smith is the coxswain. They're coached by Justin West. Lane 7 from Brisbane Grammar, Ashton Hammerer, Oliver Kerr, Lachlan Kerr, Nicholas Kelso, Hudson Slater, James Grant, Oliver Kent, Ezekiel Hutton, Phoenix O'Keefe is the coxswain. They're coached by Philip Morgan and Amelia Connolly. And Lane 8 from Nudgee College, Lachlan Balderson, Alexander Watt, Harry O'Hare, William Devlin, Oliver McCowan, Jacob Brown, Angus Kovac, Fred Crosser and Toby Collier is their coxswain. Lane 5, the Shore School, out in front at the moment. Either side of them, they've got Kings and Hutchins looking to go through and take silver as they come through the 500-metre timing point. It's half a boat length, that lead there for the Shore School ahead of Kings, St Ignatius, St Joseph's, Hutchins, Trinity Grammar all just in behind them, and then back a little bit further to Brisbane Grammar and Nudgee College on the closest side of the screen. So we can see there the Hudson of the crew from the Shore School with those black and white stripes down the side behind them. The King's School here in Sydney, so it's a Sydney 1 and 2 as things stand at the moment. Half a boat length lead, Richard, between Shore and Kings.
Yes, I'm not sure if you were here, Stuart, for the Head of the River on Saturday, but it was on that occasion the King's School who beat Shore in this event. So at this stage, the result potentially going to be reversed here between our top two crews from the Sydney Schools. The top four, in fact, from that Head of the River race, all in the event here. St Joseph's, Lane 3 finished in 3rd place, and Ignatius, Lane 1, were in 4th. And a couple of crews also from Queensland there. On the bottom of the screen, just a little off the pace, it looks like Brisbane Grammar School and also Nudgee College. And one crew from Tasmania, the Hutchins School in Lane 6, who were the winners of the Year 10-8 at the Tasmanian Head of the River at the Lake Barrington course, which I think also was held last Saturday. And one crew from Victoria, we must mention as well, Trinity Grammar School from Kew, not part of the APS, so they weren't racing in yesterday's Head of the River at Ngambie Lake, so they're here instead at the National Championships. But it looks at this stage like the Sydney schools are in the ascendancy, with the Shore School leading it from the King's School.
So the Shore School with that half a boat length lead. Coming up now towards the halfway mark, so we'll see the timings as they go through. So it's still the Shore School leading the King's School, half a boat length there. Then across to lane number 1 and 3, St Ignatius and St Joseph's battling for bronze, 0.11 of a second between 3rd and 4th. And then back to our remaining crews. So we can see there up on the screen, lane 2, the crew from Trinity Grammar Q, also not out of the running for a bronze. They're just over a canvas behind the crews from St Ignatius and St Joseph's, but certainly with it all to do. Out in front, though, the Shore School have led from the start. They got away to a flyer. They've held on to about a half a boat length, but we are seeing a push come here from the King's School. Are they able to go through and take the win in the under-17 schoolboys Cox States? They've opened up some clear water. We've then got St Ignatius and St Joseph's in lanes 1 and 3, just ahead of Trinity Grammar Q in lane number 2. And then lane 6 and 7, that's Hutchins and Brisbane Grammar battling it out for those minor placings as well. The bronze medal battle has tightened. It's only really Nudgee College that you would say are completely out of it, coming up now towards the 1,500-metre mark.
Just checking those results from last Saturday here at the is now the crew from Shaw that led for most of the race, and Kings, in fact, only overhauled them in the last 500 metres to win it by 1.39 of a second. So maybe we're seeing the same story play out here once again, twice in 8 days on the waters of the Sydney International Regatta Centre. The Brisbane Grammar School crew also there in lane 7 are a combination of their top 2 division quad sculls. So racing in year 10 in quad sculls up in the program in Queensland, and Brisbane Grammar School had a very good head of the river, especially at the year 10 level, combined here into an 8 and a good chance possibly of a bronze medal, along with the crew there from St Joseph's, Trinity Grammar and St Ignatius as well, as they come through 1,500 metres now, and it is the King's School who have that narrow lead over into the race. Kings lead it by 0.34 of a second from the Shaw School now. They had a great battle on these waters just 8 days ago, and they're doing exactly the same here with 400 to go in the finals of the Under-17 Schoolboys at Coxed 8 Championship of Australia.
It's King's School leading the Shaw School in the final stages now. The two crews have been battling it out the entire way. Shaw with the early lead. Kings pushing back, hitting the lead now. Who's going to go through and take the bronze? It's absolutely anyone's guess. St Joseph's, St Ignatius, Trinity Grammar, Hutchins and Brisbane Grammar all in with a shot. It is the crew from St Joseph's just with their bow balls out in front now, ahead of Brisbane Grammar, who are coming home strongly over there in lane number 7 into the final 250 metres. And King's School, they were down by half a boat length towards 1,000 metres. They've rowed through. They're out 3/4 of a boat length now over Shaw School and extending it with every stroke as they come in towards the final stages. This crew from the King's School extending it out now. It's out to a boat length. It's getting towards some clear water, and with a couple of big strokes left, it is going to be the crew from the King's School with the win in the Under-17 Schoolboys Coxed 8. Shaw School in second place as the King's School punch the water with joy. Coming through in third, it will be the St Joseph's College crew, just holding out Brisbane Grammar in 4th place. 5th place will go to St Ignatius ahead of Trinity Grammar in 6th, then back to the Hutchins School in 7th, and Nudgee College will finish in 8th place. What a row from the King's School.
How good is 8th racing? So close there between a number of places all the way through the course, but Kings really did time their run to perfection, got in front just at the 1,500 metre mark, as they did this time a week ago, and they win it by 3.11 seconds. So Kings first, 6:18.25. Their unofficial time ahead of Shaw in second place and St Joseph's third. It'll be an all-Sydney podium.
Presentation of medals for the Under-17 Schoolgirls Coxed 8 Championships of Australia. The medals will be presented by Sally Leake, Rowing Australia Director. In third place and bronze medalists, Presbyterian Ladies College Perth. Their crew, Bridie Swingler, Arabella Dunn, Saina Burt, Amelia Corbett, Celia Rossa, Vanilla Cox, Ruby Davis, Tara Swingler, their coxswain Laura Gillum, and coached by Rebecca Dunstan and David Milne. Second place and silver medalists Loretto Turak, their crew, Minty Clemens, Zara Bear, Zara Brakovic, Olivia Fay. Lucy Woods. Their coxswain, Josie Grave. By Amelia Gali. And our gold medalists and Australian champions for 2024, Kinross Walleroy School. Their crew, Rani Jarek, Isabel Grouts, Molly Mason, Mari Willie, Grace Tancred, Ruby Lego, Lucy Reedy, and their coxswain, ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our 2024 Australian champions and medalists. We are underway in race number 543. It's the final of the club women's double scull, and we've got some fantastic crews in this event. Lane 1 from Sydney University, Ciara Ortolani and Charlotte Hartson, coached by Alan Bennett and Alfie Young. Lane 2, Adelaide Rowing Club, Celia Cowan and Joyce Jollins, coached by Darren Potts and Ron Mobbs. Lane 3 from Toowong Rowing Club, Gabrielle Geldard and Vivian Noonan, coached by Alex Field and Claire Raven. Lane 4 from the Australian National University, Alexandra Moylan and Sophie Gerapatridis, coached by Nigel Harding. Lane 5 from Richmond Rowing Club, Helen Pearce and Kate Dyball. Lane 6 from Sydney Rowing Club, Gabby Seifer and Madison Joins. Lane 7 from Brisbane and GPS, Kate Morris and Marnie Evans, coached by Alan and Catherine Borgia. And Lane 8, also from the Australian National University, Ellie Lambden and Bonnie Andrews, coached by Nigel Harding. We've seen, Richard, so far that Sydney Rowing Club have the club women's men's for the club women's for the club men's for. How are they going to get the club double as well? They've got an early lead, this crew of Gabby Seifer and Madison Joins, but right next to them, it's the two heat winners, Helen Pearce and Kate Dyball from Richmond Rowing Club, and Alexandra Moylan and Sophie Gerapatridis from the Australian National University. They're our 1, 2, 3 at the moment, and I have a feeling this is going to go down to the wire.
Oh, we certainly hope so, yes. Our Sydney Rowing Club correspondent tells us they have high hopes in all of the club events, and they've certainly won the first couple, including the Cornella in the Club 4 a few races ago, and they do narrowly lead it here. Sydney Rowing Club, Gabby Seifer and Madison Joins. But an interesting event here. We do, in fact, have a large part of the medalists from last year's National Championships racing once again in the same event. It was won last year by ANU, a different combination, but ANU with the crew here over in Lane 8. And also in Lane 4, I should say. So two crews, in fact, yes, from the Australian National University. Not the same combination that won last year. Our bronze medalists last year were Helen Pearce and Kate Dyball in the black and gold there of the Richmond Rowing Club. And also our silver medalists from last year, Kate Morris and Marnie Evans, who in fact have won silver the last 2 times this event was raced at the National Championships, looking to potentially go one better this year. That's the crew over in lane number 7 for Brisbane and GPS.
Very close at the top. The ANU University, Catherine. For this event, there's a second between first and third. So Sydney leading ANU by half a second back to Richmond, and then Adelaide, Toowong, Brisbane and GPS, Sydney University, and the second ANU making up the field there. That's ANU crew, Sophie Gerapatridis, who has rode a number of times in the named after the former Australian rower back in the late 1990s. ANU, and looking like they've just fallen a little bit behind the Richmond Rowing Club crew of Helen Pearce and Kate Dyball. I know that the Richmond Rowing Club certainly thinking that this was an amazing opportunity for them. We just see there Nigel Harding riding on his bike there, heading towards the finish, and Richmond looking like they've just opened up a half a length lead through the third 500 metres.
Very, very big push there in the premiership quarter from Helen Pearce and Kate Dybel of the Richmond Rowing Club. There were 3 boats across the course after 1,000 metres, but this combination from Victoria, who has certainly been very, very dominant in Victorian regattas, not just this year, but the past couple of years now. As you said, they won a bronze medal at the Nationals last year over in Perth, so looking to move up a couple of steps on the podium here, and that is a very, very strong third 500. They have stretched out to almost take a Clearwater lead now over still a very good race for second and place Sydney and ANU either side of our leading boat as they do close in on the final 500 metres of this race in pretty much the correct arrow formation you'd expect here, with our semi-final winners there in the centre of the course, lanes 4 and 5. So ANU and Sydney lane 6 there also. Mark.
It's Richmond Rowing Club with the lead, and then it's nothing to pick between ANU and Sydney Rowing Club. Sydney just with their bow balls out in front at the moment, 0.29 of a second. It's nearly a 4-second lead. What a push there from Richmond Rowing Club through that third 500 metres. Adelaide sitting in 4th place, then Toowong in 5th, Brisbane and GPS in 6th, and then back to Sydney University and the second ANU crew in 8th place, just crossing over the 1,500 metre mark now. So it's going to take an amazing push here from ANU or Sydney Rowing Club if they are to overhaul this Richmond Rowing Club crew of Helen Pearce and Kate Dybel. I know their social media was excited this morning for Richmond Rowing Club to see if they were able to go through and take a win, and they've extended that lead out now. ANU and Sydney still battling it out together, but ANU just with their bow balls out in front in this stretch for silver.
They're making it look easy here, our race leaders from the Richmond Rowing Club. Helen Pearce and Kate Dybel have a Clearwater margin now, close to 2 lengths, in fact, on possibly the Australian National University, who've picked up gold and bronze medals in this event the past 2 years. Maybe a silver coming up here in 2024, although they are mounting a final surge here, certainly to stay ahead of Sydney Rowing Club. Gabby Cypher and Madison joins there in 3rd place. The ANU, but it's certainly Rowing Club from Boathouse Drive on the Yarra River in Melbourne, who maintain this Clearwater lead now into the red boys of the final 100 metres, the closing strokes of the club women's double scull. Still a very good race for second and third behind our race leaders, but the ANU crew maybe pushing through to secure their hold on the silver medal now, making up a little bit of ground too on our race leaders, but still it is a clear lead to the crew in yellow and black. The Richmond Rowing Club, Helen Pearce and Kate Dybel have a couple of strokes to go, and they're the champions of Australia in the club women's double scull. Richmond take out the win, 2 lengths back to ANU in 2nd place. The bronze will go the way of Sydney Rowing Club, another medal for them in the club events. 4th then out towards the far side of the course, Adelaide, Cowan and Jollins will come across the line. 5th to Toowong, Geldard and Noonan. 6th will be lane 7, that's Morris and Evans of Brisbane and GPS. 7th place, lane 1, Sydney University, Ortolani and Harton. 8th place, the second ANU combination of Lambton and Andrews.
Of medals for the under-17. The medals will be presented by Sally Leake, Rowing Australia Director. Third place and bronze medalists, St Joseph's College. Their crew, Ari Geach, Samuel Spork, Joseph Lane, Bryn Whitaker, Henry Troy, Matthew Pass, Thomas Curran, Tate Fredrickson, and their coxswain, Lachlan Mulders. They're coached by Henry Ryan. Second place and silver medalists, the Shaw School. Their crew, Henry Wheeler, George Scammell, Ben McCutcheon, Luke Robinson, Hamish Gilligan, Harrison Frape, Oliver Paris, and their coxswain, Oscar Miller. They're coached by David Jennings. Gold medalists and Australian champions for 2024, the King's School. Their crew, Sam McLean, Oscar Parsons, Hugo Yates, Jeremy Blatchford, Hamish Matthews, Duke Millwood, Lockie Rogers, Nicholas Plattis, and their coxswain, Louis Hodgson. They're coached by David Gelly and Ed Yorston. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our 2024 Australian champions and medalists. So we are underway in race number 544. It's the club men's double sculls. Lane 1, Sydney University, Alexander Page and James Scott Brown, coached by Tom Shaw and Don McLaughlin. Lane 2 from Mercantile Rowing Club, Joshua Murphy and Jackson Morrish. In lane 3 from Wendouree Ballarat Rowing Club, Joshua Matheson and William Gilbert, coached by Sam Hutchinson and Jamie McDonald. Lane 4 from Banks Rowing Club, Lockie Rose and James Meads, coached by Brendan Scott. Lane 5 from UTS Haberfield, Lawson Banks and Edward Kelly, coached by Sam Fennessy and Alexandra Wenyon. Lane 6 from Sydney Rowing Club, Oliver Morales and Flynn Wilkinson, coached by Donovan Seck and Shane Mulvaney, Felix Dew. Lane 7, Newcastle Rowing Club, Ben Homer and Remy Keats, coached by Brad Smith. And then Lane 8, UTS Haberfield, Harry Birchmore and Luca Malozzi, coached by Matthias Ungermack and Sam Fennessy. And then through the 1,000 metres, it was the Banks crew leading Wendouree Ballarat, Sydney University in third place. Then back to Ben Homer, familiar voice from the commentary, and Remy Keats from Newcastle, UTS in fifth, then Mercantile, Sydney, and the second UTS crew of Birchmore and Malozzi in eighth place.
Yeah, we have to declare an interest in this race. Our co-commentator Ben Homer racing in the Newcastle Rowing Club colours in lane 7 as Stuart John goes off to prepare for his interstate race coming up later today as well. And we thank him for his great work in commentary right throughout this regatta. But it's a combination from the Banks Rowing Club in Melbourne here who leads. So despite all the talk of Sydney Rowing Club dominance of the club events, it might be a Victorian double in the double scull. It's the Banks Rowing Club, Lockie Rose and James Meads leading it here, coached by Brendan Scott. James Meads also won this event 2 years ago at the Gambia Lakes in 2022 in combination on. James Meads has had a very successful season, certainly across Victoria in both the single and double sculls. winning 2 races at Australian Henley and a couple of state championship titles as well. So a very a rower in good form in here with Lockie Rose of the Banks Club. They sit clear by about a length, it would be, from Wendouree Ballarat. In of the 1956 Olympics course there in the centre of Ballarat, and it's the Mercantile crew also were there. In fact, are the ones in second place. So that's Joshua Murphy and Jackson Morrish, and then looked like Sydney Uni was it in third place over on that far side of the course. Alexander Page and James Scott Brown, the crews. Now, it is certainly Wendouree Ballarat there, so that timing system just slightly guiding us in the wrong direction there, but they are now deep into the final quarter of this race. Certainly it is the Banks combination who lead it from Wendouree Ballarat alongside them. UTS Haberfield Lane 5, Lawson Banks and Edward Kelly, who took the silver and bronze medals in this event, that club last year at Champion Lakes. But it is certainly a Banks combination who lead here. Lockie Rose and James Meads ahead of Joshua Matheson and William Gilbert. Still on the far side too, Sydney Uni looking to charge late for a medal. That's Alexander Page and James Scott Brown, and Ben Homer and Remy Keats for Newcastle Rowing Club sit about 5th at this stage, but only a length or so away from a bronze medal. But the lead there is with the distinctive colours of the Banks Rowing Club from Melbourne, Lockie Rose and James Meads. James Meads going for his second win in 3 years in the club men's double scull after being victorious at Ngambie Lakes in 2022. Still holding by Clearwater over Wendouree Ballarat. Sydney Uni finishing well on the far side of the course. Also the UTS Haberfield combination and Newcastle Grammar School have the rating up down this side of the course, but sit back in 5th place ahead of Sydney Rowing Club. And it's going to be a 2-length win coming up to the combination from the Banks Rowing Club in Melbourne. Lockie Rose and James Meads will come across and take the win in the club men's double scull championship of Australia. Silver goes to Wendouree Ballarat Lane 3, and the bronze will be with Sydney University on the far side of the course. 4th place is at UTS Haberfield. 5th will be Newcastle Rowing Club. 6th place then is Sydney Rowing Club. 7th will be the crew from Mercantile, and 8th will be UTS Haberfield in Lane 8. Presentation of medals for the Club Women's Double Scull Championship of Australia. Medals will be presented by Colin Smith, Rowing Australia past president. In 3rd place and bronze medalists, Sydney Rowing Club. Gabby Cypher and Madison Joins. Coached by Lachlan Carter and Florence Griffiths. 2nd place and silver medalists, the Australian National University. Alexandra Moylan and Sophie Gerapetritis, who is coached by Nigel Harding. The gold medalists and Australian champions for 2024, Richmond Rowing Club. Helen Pearce and Kate Diboll. Please congratulate the 2024 Australian champions and medalists in the Club Women's Double Scull. It's underway now in the final of the not the club men's double scull. It'll be the schoolgirls coxed quad scull. Should be our next race, and it's welcome back to Chris McCarthy.
Thank you, Richard. It's an absolutely electric atmosphere out there in the boat park thing, just building race by race, and a very highly anticipated event around the nation. Race 545, the schoolgirls coxed quadruple scull. In lane 1, we have Radford College, Zoe Hickey, Zara Turner, fresh off a national championship in the schoolgirls single, Coco Gunther, Emily Brennan and Charles Kendall, the Cox. Wrighton girls in lane 2, Lucy Gillen, Sarah Haben, Grace Hereford, Asha Gowans and Pippa Reed, the coxswain. Canberra girls grammar in lane 3, Isabel King, Emily Walker, Samantha Burns, Eliza Lilly and Olivia Noonan, the coxswain. Trinity Lutheran College in lane 4, that's Lily Fruin, Molly Lomax, Scarlett Wood, Isabel Clifford and Lola Sullivan, the coxswain. Kinross Walleroy in lane 5, Sienna Wilkin, Elkie Sweetapple, Olivia Searle, Tessa Wong and Philippa Martin, the cox. All Hallows from Queensland in lane 6, Nell Murphy, Danielle Watt, Gabrielle Ryan, Abby Collins and Gracie Gascoigne, the coxswain. Kinross Walleroy with a second entry in lane 7, Hannah Mackay, Xanthi Staniforth, Jemima Scammell and Sophie Lulf, Emily Caro, the cox. And in lane 8 from Gippsland Grammar, it is Vasky, Ella Durand and Lucy Hodge.
Schoolgirls coxed quad scull, the A final of this race, as we do get towards the business end of the first half, at least, of the regatta, of the day's racing this morning, with just our quad sculls, school 8s and club 8s to come, and going through the first 500 metres of the race. It is once again a lead to a Kinross Walleroy school from Orange in New South Wales, lane 5. The race leaders there ever so narrowly from that distinctive boat, then of Canberra Girls Grammar School, lane 3, who look to be just in second place. And then the second combination from Kinross Walleroy racing in lane 7. So currently sitting potentially with 2 medals in their keeping, the Kinross Walleroy combination. A very good win earlier in the under-17 8. And now on the schoolgirls coxed quad scull, they sit comfortably in the top 3, which is an all New South Wales and ACT combination at this stage of proceedings. All Hallows School from Brisbane, lane 6, would just be 4th, along with Trinity Lutheran College from the Gold Coast. So 2 Queensland schools there. And then Wrighton girls over in lane 2, who have won this event 5 times in recent years, but were beaten into second place at the head of the schoolgirls last week by the crew from Gippsland Grammar School, who are racing here in lane 8. So 2 Victorian crews here, but at the moment it is the light blue boats once again who are well clear in this event, the final of the schoolgirls coxed quad scull.
Yeah, and they had a really good showing in the under-17 quad earlier in the week with a podium and then one crew just outside in 5th place. So looking to go a couple positions better and possibly a Quinella from Orange.
Yes, it's there is an overall school trophy. In fact, there's a school boys and school girls overall trophy to be awarded at the conclusion of these school races. So the maths is pretty complicated. The wins have been shared around between lots of schools. In fact, schools from all states at this stage, except for Tasmania, have won a school event. But I reckon that Kinross Walleroy will be close to the top of the maths in the calculation of both of those trophies. And they're clear here by about 2/3 of a length now. The crew on the centre of the course. That is not Trinity Lutheran. It definitely is Kinross Walleroy who lead through over Canberra Girls Grammar School, and the second Kinross crew in 3rd place. All Hallows still there in 4th, the reigning head of the river champions from the BSRA in Queensland. And then behind them, it was certainly tight still for 4th and 5th, Trinity Lutheran College and Wrighton Girls, the combination in lane 2 ahead of both Gippsland Grammar School and also Radford College from the Australian Capital Territory. So once again, the whole eastern seaboard represented here, crews from Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland and the ACT, but the race lead, as it was a few races ago, and the under-17 is clearly with Kinross Walleroy, who do seem to have a very distinctive yet quite simple race plan of getting their boat out in front and staying there for the duration.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple sport rowing. Generally, the first crew to cross the 2,000 metre line will win the race. So if that's the goal, you're doing pretty well. Interestingly, both our first and second place scullers in the schoolgirl single present in this race. Zara Turner from Radford College over in lane 1. A little bit out of proceedings at this stage, and then Gabrielle Ryan from All Hallows in lane 6. They're a little bit more in the hunt, currently sitting in 4th place, just under 3 seconds, a bit over a boat length back out of the medals, but the battle's certainly on between Canberra Girls Grammar in lane 3 and the second of the Kinross Wallaroi crews in lane number 7, closest to the grandstand on the second from the bottom of your picture if you're joining us on the live stream.
And the lead crew from Kinross about to come through 1,500 metres of the race. Sienna Wilkin, Elkie Sweetapple, Olivia Searle, Tessa Wong and Philippa Martin, the cocks of that crew for Kinross, and they will be our race leaders, and they'll have over a length as they come through the 3/4 way mark over Canberra Girls Grammar School in second place. They in that boat with the dark green colours on the bow and the then 7th now. Trinity Lutheran still 4th. Gibson Grammar School have come through fairly strongly in the third 500 and maybe now up into 5th place, just ahead of All Hallows and also Wrighton Girls, and then Radford College from the ACT there in lane 1. But as Chris mentioned, Zara Turner in that boat rowing a second 2,000 metre race in the space of about 90 minutes. So certainly quite some effort here on the final morning. 24, but it is leads out here once again as they continue to add to their very, very impressive national championships record here in 2024. They've got over a length lead still from Canberra Girls Grammar in second place. That's Isabel King, Emily Walker, Samantha Burns, Eliza Lilly and Olivia Noonan, the cocks of that crew, coached by Carolyn Pipers. And in third place, it still looks to be the second of the Kinross boats, Hannah Mackay, Xanthi Staniforth, Jemima Scammell, Sophie Luelf and Emily Caro, the cocks of that crew for Kinross, sitting provisionally in the bronze medal spot, but pushing them all the way down. We have Trinity Lutheran from the Gold Coast in the bright green colours in the centre of the course, and All Hallows from Brisbane, Gibson Grammar School from Sale and East of Victoria, and the Wrighton Girls School from Melbourne as well. A great battle across the course, pushing our medalists all the way down, but into the final 120 metres go. The crew from Kinross Wallaroi School on lane 5, still comfortably clear in the final of the schoolgirls at Cox Quad Scale, an event in recent years dominated by crews from Victoria, but this time the trophy will be staying in New South Wales in the hands of the Kinross Wallaroi School. They've only got a few strokes to go, and it will be a comfortable win coming up to Kinross Wallaroi ahead of Canberra Girls Grammar School, and Kinross still looking good for bronze, but Kinross take the gold medal on lane 5. Kinross Wallaroi first, second Canberra Girls Grammar School, and 2 medals to Kinross Wallaroi, third on lane 7, 4th to Trinity Lutheran. 5th place will be Gippsland Grammar School, the very good second half of the race from them. 6th to Wrighton Girls, 7th will be All Hallows, and 8th place the crew from Radford College. 7:17.63, the unofficial winning time there, and 3.34 seconds. So a bit over a length lead, win there to Kinross Wallaroi from Canberra Girls Grammar School, and Kinross will take the bronze as well.
Presentation of medals for the Club Men's Double Scull Championship of Australia. Medals will be presented by Australia. Third place and bronze medalists, Sydney University, Alexander Page and James Scott Brown. The crew was coached by Tom Shaw and Don McLaughlin. Second place and silver medalists, Wendouree Ballarat Rowing Club, Joshua Matheson, William Gilbert. The crew was coached by Sam Hutchison and Jamie McDonald. Gold medalists and national champions in the Club Men's Double Scull, Banks Rowing Club, Lockie Rose, James Meads. The crew was coached by Brendan Scott. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our champions and medalists in the Club Men's Double Scull. And our next race on our program, with just 5 races to go on this morning's program before the Interstate Regatta. Race 546, the A final of the Schoolboys Cox Quad Scull. 8 crews present in this one. We've got Trinity Grammar in lane 1, Hugo Osmond, Nicholas Whiteoak, William Ball, Charlie White and George Karagianis, coached by Jackson Harrison and Lachlan Goller. Lane 2, Kinross Wallaroy, Archie Condon, Campbell Miller, Tom Day, Nick Tancred and Henry Baker, the coxswain. Morris College in lane 3, Garvin Hayes, Charles Carter, Austin Benny, Harrison Braithwaite and Theodore Campton, the cox. Tom Hayes and Peter Benny, the coaching team on that one. Radford College, the fellow Canberrans next to them in lane 4, Connor Maloof, Angus Scott, Hamish Gaydon, Hamish McKee, Izzy Farris, the cox, and Mackenzie Moore, William Hatcher and Gordon Marks, the coaching team there. Kinross Wallawarri with another crew, yet another coxed quad scull from Orange in lane 5, Harry Dimmock, George Wakeham, Oscar Cleary, Oliver Smith and Angus Peterson, the cox. Melbourne High in lane 6, that's Zanying Huang and, James Lau, Sam Everback, Oscar Everback and Joshua Kang, the coxswain. Ariane Diol, the cox. Ballarat Grammar in lane 7, Harper Walsh, Benjamin Meakin, Lockie Heath, Harry Toll, Madeline Barclay Smith, the cox. Luke Pognault, the coach from that one, and the King's School in lane 8, Charles Whalen, Lockie Jones, Lockie Tyndall, Jackson Thomas, Hugh Miller, the cox, coached by Harrison Randall and Digby Lay.
And would you believe, Chris, it's the crew from Kinross Wallaroy who've got off to a very good start and have taken the lead early in the A final of the Schoolboys Cox Quad Scull as they come through the 500 metre mark now. About a boat length lead it was to Kinross, 3.55, in fact 1.82 seconds it was over Morris College of the ACT in second place, half second back to Melbourne High and 3/4 of a second to Radford College. And I'm not sure if any school's ever done the quad double before. Many, of course, wouldn't be able to without having both female and male athletes in their school, but this could be a remarkable effort from Kinross Wallaroy.
Yeah, not to my knowledge has anyone done it. It'll certainly make them a tough prospect to beat in the schools championship trophy, or rather, sorry, there are 2 schools, schoolboy and schoolgirl separate, so doing both won't affect the outcome of that one.
And again, I'm certain no school's ever won both of those at the same on the same year.
No, correct. I think the schoolboy trophy may be, there's a few schools still in contention for that one, but after a win in the under 17 8 and likely a strong result in the schoolboy 8 later, maybe the King's School might be in contention for that one. But Shaw as well with crews in both of those, and everything wide open for the taking in the point scores trophies as Kinross Wallaroy rowing in the boat that bears the name of their head coach Andrew Gannon, just breaking out to a little bit of clear water over their nearest competitors from Morris College, and anyone's guess for the minor medals as Melbourne High, Radford College and Kinross Wallaroy all follow within about 3 seconds of each other.
It's a strong lead again there to the Kinross Wallaroy combination. 3.38 seconds now after 1,000 metres. Morris College of the ACT in second place. Melbourne High in third. And there is a second crew again from Kinross who sit up in the top 4 or 5. That's the lane 2 combination from that school. So again, they're doing it, as Chris said, rowing is a fairly simple sport. You just got to go as fast as you can over 2,000 metres of water. And the easiest way to do that is from in front. That Kinross crew can look back now at the rest of the field and see the challenges come, as I'm sure they will, over the third 500 metres, but very, very well placed is that combination: Harry Dimmock, George Wakeham, Oscar Cleary, Oliver Smith and Angus Peterson. This race was won last year by Northern Beaches Secondary College. Radford College took the silver, and there are a good chance here of another medal. And Ballarat Grammar School took the bronze last year with a fairly similar crew, in fact, including certainly Lockie Heath, I can see in the boat again this year, with Harper Walsh, Benjamin Meakin, Harry Toll, Madeline Barclay Smith, the combination from Ballarat Grammar School. But Kinross Wallaroy School Girls 8, we saw them in the Schoolboys Open Cox Quad Scull Championship of Australia final. Second place still looks like it's with the Morris College ACT combination, then Radford College. So 2 Canberra crews potentially could join them on the podium here as well. going through 1,500 metres now, and once again they've extended their lead. 4:50.25 the time for Kinross Walleroy, 4.64 seconds ahead of those two Canberra crews side by side there, Marist College and Radford College. Melbourne High School are up into fourth ahead of Ballarat Grammar, but that is a very tight race. It looks like for second, third, fourth and fifth. And the race leaders from Kinross Walleroy have a great gap back and a great look back at the rest of the field, who are racing, it would seem, for the silver and bronze to be shared amongst them, because for the second race in a row, it is Kinross Walleroy comfortably clear here in the schoolboys coxed quad scull. They've got about 2 lengths now on either Radford College or Marist College. Very tight, certainly. The silver and bronze, Melbourne High School lane 6 are moving through well alongside Ballarat Grammar School and the King School from Sydney next to them too, also looking to maximise their points in that School Boys Championship trophy to be awarded at the conclusion of the School 8th races in a couple of events' time. But it is Kinross Walleroy once again, the two crews from Canberra mounting a late charge here. Certainly Radford College have got their boat moving well now. Just ahead, it would seem, of Marist College. And on this side, Melbourne High, Ballarat Grammar School still leading it from Kings, Kinross the far side, and also Trinity Grammar School from Kew in Melbourne. But it's Kinross Walleroy clear, and they look likely to take out their third schools final here on the last morning of the Australian Rowing Championship for 2024. It is Kinross Walleroy in the Bowcox light blue boat. The pack is closing behind them. The two crews from the ACT are making up ground. It's still anyone's race for second and third. Radford and Marist going stroke for stroke, but they will not catch the leaders from Kinross Walleroy School, who win their second race in a row, and they take the double in the quad sculls. The schoolgirls and now the schoolboys. Kinross have won it. Silver goes to Radford. Bronze will go to Marist College. Two crews there from the ACT second and third. Ballarat Grammar School stormed home to take fourth place as well, ahead of Melbourne High and the King School. And then on the second crew from Kinross Walleroy, who continue on their winning way in the schoolboys coxed quad scull.
2 in a row from Kinross Walleroy, and a great battle from come from behind. Silver medal for Radford, the battle of the Canberrans. The presentation of medals for the Schoolgirls Coxed Quadruple Scull Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Richard Finlayson, Rowing Australia Director. Third place and bronze medalist, Kinross Walleroy. Hannah Mackay. Xanthi Staniforth. Jemima Scammell. Sophie Lulf. And their cox, Emily Caro. Second place and silver medalist, Canberra Girls Grammar. Isabel King. Emily Walker. Samantha Burns. Eliza Lilly. Crew coxed by Olivia Noonan. Crew was coached by Caroline Pipers. Gold medalist and Elkie Sweetapple. Tessa Wong. And their cox, Philippa Martin. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our 2024 national champions and medalists in the schoolgirls coxed quadruple scull.
See two crews from Kinross there on the podium. The quad scull, they'll be there again too soon in the schoolboys quad. But we're racing, Chris, in the race for the Sydney Cup, the schoolgirls coxed 8 championship of Australia.
So racing for the Sydney Cup, this event sponsored by Bolle in Lane 1, Canberra Grammar School. Lane 2, Furbank Grammar from Victoria. Lane 3, Melbourne Girls Grammar. Lane 4, St Catherine's School, New South Wales. Lane 5, Loreto Toorak. Lane 6, Pymble Ladies College. Lane 7, Seymour College from South Australia. And in Lane 8, MLCQ. As the crew from Pymble Ladies just leading out the fellow Sydney crew of St Catherine's School.
And also the defending champions there from Melbourne Girls Grammar School got away well in Lane 3. A great race in prospect here. Certainly you'd think St Catherine's of New South Wales, the race favourites, but they're facing some early challenges. And Pymble Ladies College, who won this race a number of times, especially in the early part of the 2010s, challenging early and getting out to a bright start in this race. That's the crew of Mia Booth, Mika Nato, Millie Cullinane, Scarlett Ollison, Megan Wood, Alexandra Bracich, Erin Porter, Holly Craig, Carolina Yemmer, and Carl Schmidt, the coach there of Pymble Ladies, as they go through the 500-metre mark, and it's already very close. 0.37 from first to third, possibly St Catherine's, just from Melbourne Girls Grammar School and Pymble Ladies, but you could basically toss a coin amongst the top 3, Furbank Grammar and Loreto Toorak. Had a great race on the Barwon River last week ahead of Seymour College, MLCQ, and also Canberra Grammar School. The St Catherine's crew is not quite undefeated in competition this year. They lost a heat earlier this week, but beyond that...
Yeah, they lost the heat of the under-19 Women's 8 earlier this week to the crew in Lane 7, Seymour College from South Australia, and what an upset that was, but came back in the final to take out the women's under-19 8, and I think that's the only time in that heat, I think that is the only time they've looked under pressure the entire season. The schoolgirl head of the river here in New South Wales was pretty much 2 separate races, as St Catherine's School in Victoria were almost 10 seconds in the lead. It was a great race for second place in that race, where Pymble Ladies College collected the silver, but St Catherine's School, the row out of UTS Haberfield there in Iron Cove, it's certainly been a phenomenal season for these girls.
And despite the early challenges, they've got their boat in front now. St Catherine's School from Sydney was second in this event last year, beaten then by Melbourne Girls Grammar School, but leading them now, the crew on Lane 4 of Bianca Rupnik-Williams, Alice Steed, Evelyn Stigter, Madeline Mannins, Isabella Yardley, Chelsea Baker, Madeline Swain, Layla Gaston and Jasmine Abella, coached by Jared Watson and Richard Coakley. And second 500 metres, so St Catherine's Grammar and then Loreto Toorak, but very close certainly between those crews. This has been an event that the Victorian schools have dominated over the past decade or so. Melbourne Girls Grammar School winning it last year and also in 2021. They were narrowly beaten in 2022 in a memorable finish by St Catherine's of Melbourne. And I also recall St Catherine's of Melbourne having a great semi-final race with St Catherine's of Sydney at Champion Lakes last year that needed a photo finish to decipher the winner. But at this stage, it is St Catherine's of Sydney, the Lane 4 crew, who are out to a pretty handy lead ahead of what's behind them. A compelling race for the rest of the medals. Melbourne Girls Grammar School there in the white boat. The yellow empacker there of Pymble Ladies, the blue boat of Loreto Toorak, and also there the crew of Seymour College from South Australia, who had that good result in the heats earlier in the week.
Yeah, Loreto Toorak, fresh off a medal in the under-17 8 in another blue boat, slightly different shade, but and now every chance for a medal here in Schoolgirl 8 for the Sydney Cup. Great race from Pymble Ladies College to be right in the mix and currently leading the charge for silver. But some way behind that dominant school from the eastern suburbs of Sydney, St Catherine's.
Pymble Ladies were second in the New South Wales head of the river, but they were about over 9 seconds behind the St Catherine's crew, so it's a comfortable win there. So they did all they could in the early stages, Pymble ladies, to try and upset the hot favourites here. But St Catherine's and Sydney now do have this again by a bit over a length, so they extended again in the third 500 metres, and they go through with a substantial lead, about a length and a half. It will be St Catherine's, still Pymble ladies there in second, then Melbourne Girls Grammar School, Loretto, Toorak, Seymour College. Bit of a gap back then to Furbank and MLC, two Victorian crews there in a good battle for 6th and 7th on either side of the course, and Canberra Grammar School on the far side look likely to finish in 8th place. So still some great interest here in the remainder of the medals. Melbourne Girls Grammar School, the defending champions, close to 3rd place on lane 3. Matilda Heyman, Adelaide Banks, Megan Barrow, Lily Wallace, Lulu Byrne in the stroke seat, Audrey Srirache, Coxing that crew. The blue boat there of Loretto Toorak, Zoe Kritikides, Neve Thomas Leach, Olivia Carroll, Rowie Curry, Audrey James, Alexander Fairchild, Charlotte Grant, Maisie Richards and Lucy Marsh. They are coached by Connor McConville. They won the head of the schoolgirls for the 2nd time in 2 years, for the 2nd time in their history, in fact, just a week ago in Geelong, but now sit in a close battle for possibly a bronze medal. Pymble ladies still there in 2nd. Also on one side of them is the crew from Seymour College, but St Catherine's School from Sydney is comfortably clear in the final stages now of the race for the Sydney Cup, leading still by over a length. They're rating up very close still to 40 strokes per minute, so they're leaving no stone unturned to extend their margin and looking to take out the title in the Schoolgirls Coxed Championship of Australia, sponsored by Bolle. Seymour College are flying home too, down the grandstand side of the course. Ahead of Loretto, might be a chance to pit Melbourne Girls Grammar School for the bronze, but the gold is going to go to St Catherine's School of New South Wales as they come across the line and they win the Sydney Cup. St Catherine's of Sydney finished first. Right behind them, Pymble ladies will hold on for silver, and bronze will just go to Melbourne Girls Grammar School, I think, on lane 3. 4th will be Seymour College, a brave finish from them. 5th place, Loretto Toorak. 6th will be MLCQ, 7th Furbank Grammar School, 8th Canberra Grammar, but St Catherine's of Sydney, 2nd last year. This year they're the winners of the Sydney Cup.
The presentation of medals for the Schoolboys Coxed Quadruple Scull Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Richard Finlayson, Rowing Australia Director. Third place and bronze medalist, Marist College. Garvin Hayes. Charles Carter. Austin Benny. Harrison Braithwaite. Theodore Campton. Crew was coached by Tom Hayes and Peter Benny. Second place and silver medalists, Bradford College. Connor Maloof. Angus Scott. Hamish Gaydon. Hamish McKee. And Izzy Farris. The crew coached by Mackenzie Moore, William Hatcher and Gordon Marks. Gold medalists and national champions for 2024, Kinross Wallaroy. Harry Dimmick, George Wakeham, Oscar Cleary, Oliver Smith, and Angus Peterson. The crew Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our national champions and medalists in the schoolboys coxed quadruple scull.
Underway in the schoolboys coxed 8. I can just confirm the official result too from the previous race. The schoolgirls coxed 8. We know it was St Catherine's, the winners, 6:39.07 their time, 5.07 seconds ahead of the second place crew from Pimble Ladies, who had 1.19 seconds on Melbourne Girls Grammar School, who have taken the bronze by 0.12 of a second. So Melbourne Girls Grammar School third, just edging out Seymour College of South Australia in fourth place. So the crews on the course here in the schoolboys at Coxed 8. This event also sponsored by Bolle, and I believe the winning crews of both events will receive a set of Bolle sunglasses from the event sponsor on the podium after the race. So some extra incentive to race here as the Hutchins School of Tasmania are racing in lane 1, the Shore School from Sydney in 2, the Southport School in 3, St Joseph's lane 4, Kings in 5, St Ignatius with 2 crews in the race in lane 6 and 7, and Brisbane Grammar School are racing in lane 8.
Yeah, the win could come from anywhere in this race. It's been one I've been looking forward to all week, as the schoolboy season in New South Wales was filled with twists and turns. So St Joseph's College, the form favourites out of the New South Wales crews, who won the AAGPS Head of the River. The King's School did beat them only a couple of weeks ago, and were thought to perhaps be really in the mix at Head of the River, as well as the crew from the Shore School, the Jason Baker coach crew, who surprised many with a silver medal at the GPS Head of the River. The Southport School over in Station 3, they won the Brisbane GPS Head of the River just a couple of weekends ago as well, and the Brisbane Grammar crew in lane 8 and Hutchins in lane 1, the only other two non-New South Wales entrants in this event for this year were, of course, an absence of West Australian GPS crews and Victorian APS crews due to scheduling conflicts with their Head of the River, as the Southport School from the Gold Coast stride out to about a 2-seat lead at the 750 metre mark. It's almost level pegging between the King's School and St Joseph's College for the silver and bronze medals at this stage in the race. There's still plenty of time left for any upsets. So the King's School got away well with the Southport School. St Joseph's just trailed behind out of the blocks and have pegged back just a little bit of margin on the King's School, and now are really trading blows as they approach 1,000 metres road. This St Joseph's College crew were the first school to, the first St Joseph's crew to win Head of the River in 9 years in New South Wales, but the Southport School doing a great job to extend that lead in their contest for the Barrington Cup, sponsored by Bolle. 1.33 seconds the margin to St Joseph's, and then the King's School, just ignore what's on the screen there, the King's School and St Ignatius and Shore in fourth and fifth place rather. The crews from Hutchins and Brisbane Grammar battling it out. So that's where I was getting a little bit confused. 2 St Ignatius crews in this race with their second 8 in Station 7, their first 8 in Station 6, coached by Matthew Curtin there. But you can see the combination from the Southport School. That's the crew of Harry Dawson, Leonardo Hughes, Jeffrey Warren, John L, Nikos Karathanasopoulos, Mac Ramsey, Caden Miller-Wright, Jed Galley, Sean Middemew, the Cox, coached by Cameron Kennedy, who still have about 3 seats on the field. The battle for second place between the King's School and St Joseph's College, though, is starting to encroach on our early race leaders. At the moment, it is the King's School just up, although as I say that, I think the St Joseph's College crew, the GPS Head of the River champions, Major Rennie winners, Darcy Williams, Matthias Maloney, McKinley Dooley, Alex Nagleen, Thomas Maloney, Gus Sesciola, Samuel Basher, Finlay Mitchell and Jonathan Yates, the Cox, coached by Michael Lane and William Raven, who have just fallen back by half a canvas to the King's School. Mac Mason, William Farrer, Campbell Wickham, Alfred McLean, Samuel Hines, Charles Baker, Tom Whalen, William Rogers and Otto Gerber, the coxswain, coached by Julian and Simon Huxley. Those boys starting to push now on the early race leaders from Southport School, but I don't think it's going to be enough. That Southport School looking dominant in the lead of this race. They got out just slightly quicker out of the blocks and have just taken a couple of seats every 500 metres now in the quest for the Barrington Cup. But I'd be looking out for the St Ignatius crew, who are starting to make a move in the closing stages here and are every chance at stealing a medal from the St Joseph's College. That's the St Ignatius crew of Sebastian Zuckerman, Jeremy Holmes, Alistair Brown, Ambrose, Hennessy, Montague, Hiles, Harrison Davis, Angus McGrath, George Field, Henry Burton, the Cox, coached by Matthew Curtin, who have almost drawn level with their fellow Jesuit school from Sydney. They're just down the road in Lane Cove and Hunters Hill. It's St Ignatius and St Joseph's battling it out for the bronze medal. The favourite crew from St Joseph's, if they miss out on a medal, I'd say Ray Ebbett would be telling me it's the biggest boil over since Polly left the kettle on. But the Southport School have led from start to finish. The Queensland Head of the River champions, as the King School are really starting to move in the late stages of the race, but it's a long way, and they'll be hard pressed to overtake that early lead of the Southport School. Dawson, Hughes, Warren, L, Carathanasopoulos, Ramsey, Miller, Wright, Galley, Sean Midmew, the Cox, but they're going to have to look out for a late charge in King School. The King School Parramatta are surging, and it is on the surge. It is going to come to a photo finish, and the King School Parramatta, I think, just over the Southport School. The King School win the Barrington Cup, and in third place, St Ignatius College get up over St Joseph's, and Shaw for fifth. The St Ignatius second place crew in sixth, Hutchins in seventh, and Brisbane Grammar in eighth place. I'm glad I was watching.
Oh, Chris, I see it, but I don't quite believe it. Southport led for 1,919 metres, about to become the first Queensland school in 9 years to win the Barrington Cup, and the King School stormed over the top, or have they? We wait the photo here. There it is, yes, the King School it is, as the system catches up to as we catch our breath. It was the King School by 0.26 of a second. They got in front with about a stroke to go, but they have won the Barrington Cup in one of the best finishes you're ever going to see. Kings first, Southport second, St Ignatius third, St Joseph's fourth. The presentation of medals for the Schoolgirls Coxed 8 Championship of Australia. Medals will be presented by Paul Schultz, Bolle brand manager, sponsors of the Sydney Cup. In third place, and bronze medalist, Melbourne Girls Grammar School. Matilda Heyman. In third place, and bronze medalist, Melbourne Girls Grammar School. Matilda Heyman. Adelaide Banks. Megan Barrow. Lily Wallace. Lulu Burney. Samantha O'Keefe. Maddie Clifford. Emily Anthony. And Audrey Sirache. Medalists, Pymble Ladies College. Mia Booth. Mika Nato. Millie Cullinan. Scarlett Olsen. Megan Wood. Alessandra Brasic. Erin Porter. Holly Craig. Carolina Yema. Crew is coached by Carl Schmidt. The gold medalists and Australian champions for 2024, St Catherine's School, Sydney. Bianca Rupnick-Williams. Alice Steed. Evelyn Stitka. Madeline Mannins. Isabel Yardley. Chelsea Baker. Madeline Swain. Layla Gaston. And Jasmine Abella. Who is coached by Jared Watson and Richard Coakley. The Sydney Cup will now be presented by Paul Schultz of Bolle. Please congratulate the 2024 Australian champions and medalists in the Schoolgirls Coxed 8. Congratulations also to St Catherine's School of Sydney, who have won the overall Schoolgirls Point Score Trophy. So St Catherine's New South Wales winners of the Schoolgirls Point Score Trophy. Racing in the club women's 8. Before we go there, Chris, I think you've drawn breath now. We do have the result of the previous race. We can confirm the King's School winners in 5:56.96, 4/100th of a second ahead of the Southport School in second place. So brilliantly spotted on the line there, and St Ignatius College of Sydney have finished in third place. But the King's School will soon receive the Barrington Cup for the Schoolboys Coxed 8 Championship of Australia. But we're racing now in the club women's Coxed 8, a field of 8 here across the course. Another great race in prospect as well. Carrum Rowing Club from Melbourne in lane 1, UTS Haberfield in 2, Adelaide Rowing Club in 3, Sydney Rowing Club in 4, University of New South Wales lane 5, Mercantile lane 6, Melbourne University lane 7, and the Queenwood School in lane 8.
And looks to be only 3 crews out of the running at this stage. UTS Haberfield, University of New South Wales, and Mercantile the Carrum, Adelaide, and University of New South Wales crews just dropping off the pace a little bit in the opening exchanges. Through 1,000 metres, it was Sydney Rowing Club by 0.85 of a second from Mercantile. Melbourne University Boat Club in 3rd and UTS Haberfield in 4th. That UTS crew only trailing by 0.03 of a second. So based on the form guide, you would have thought this race would not have quite been as exciting as the last couple that we've seen. But the Sydney Rowing Club crew being pushed and pushed hard by the crew from Mercantile. Their fellow Boathouse Row crew there in Station 7 from Melbourne University Boat Club, currently occupying the bronze medal position, but will be doing battle with UTS Haberfield all the way down the course. That's the UTS Haberfield crew of Holly Garner, Grace Burke, Elizabeth Carey, Annabelle Fuller, Freya Bateman, Sienna Morgan, April Draney, Leela Anderton, and Sophie Costellis, the Cox, coached by Katie Healy and Jared Watson, who are threatening the Melbourne University crew of Angelica Woodruff, Emily McComb, Jacinta Caruso, Thea Cool, Olive Pascoe, Lucy Green, Felicity Murray, Yolanda Hooper, and Ivy Jones coxing that boat from Melbourne University, who, as I say that, but it is Mercantile as well, still up in. So that Melbourne University crew just responding there, taking about a seat and a half, 2 seats on the crew from UTS Haberfield. They still trail Mercantile, Mia Harrison, Imogen Nation, Grace Ivers, Freya Axton, Louisa Stocks, Alexandra Watson, Addison Luce, Louise Carr, and Jess Rowell, the coxswain, coached by Peter Somerville, Zoe Fettig-Wynn, and Andrew McNeil. That crew currently sitting in second place, but with a good, healthy amount of overlap to the Sydney Rowing Club. Olivia Cassidy, Eliza Dunlop, Paige Critchlow, Kat Mason, Hannah Keating, Amelia Crocker, Freya Neville, and Izzy Farah. Mietta Jones, the coxswain, Lachlan Carter, and Florence Griffiths, the coaching team there that have already got 2 medals in the women's club events, gold in the 4 and a bronze in the double scull. And the 2 4s combining into the 8 here and leading by 2 seconds from Mercantile, who look themselves reasonably clear of 3rd place, although it's dangerous in me saying that because I thought Southport School had the Barrington Cup wrapped up with 150 metres to go in the previous race. So I won't make any bold predictions until I see official results written on the screen in front of me. But Sydney Rowing Club still leading Mercantile, and Mercantile really actually coming under threat now from Melbourne University Boat Club, who are looking to hold off that UTS Haberfield crew on the far side of the course. So Melbourne University Boat Club narrowing that to about half a boat length's lead from Mercantile, and Mercantile closing in on Sydney Rowing Club as well in the closing stages of the race. Mercantile finding another gear, and Sydney Rowing Club will need to respond here in the closing stages. They've led the entire way down the course, and could we see another finish line upset here in the club women's coxed 8? Sydney Rowing Club still leading from Mercantile. Melbourne University pushing hard. UTS are a little bit out of the picture now. They were pushing for the medals the whole way down the course, but it doesn't look like we're going to have any change here in the closing stages. Sydney Rowing Club, they won the 4 and they'll win the club women's coxed 8 Championship of Australia by almost a boat length from Mercantile, who take the silver medal, and Melbourne University Boat Club in the bronze. UTS in 4th place. Queenwood School in lane 8. It's their school's second 8 in 5th place. Karam from Victoria over there in the bright green colours in lane 1 in 6th. Adelaide Rowing Club there in 7th, and the University of New South Wales in 8th place.
Sydney across there, 6:41.42, their 3rd win so far in the club events, 2.7. University in 3rd. Presentation of medals and the Barrington Cup for the Schoolboys Coxed 8 Championship of Australia. Medals will be presented by Ben Dodwell, Rowing Australia Director, accompanied by Paul Schultz, Volley Brand Manager. In 3rd place, and bronze medalist, St Ignatius College. Sebastian Zuckerman. Jeremy Holmes. Alistair Brown. Ambrose Hennessy. Montague Hiles. Harrison Davis, Angus McGrath, George Field, and Henry Burton, who was coached by Matthew Curtin. In second place, and silver medalists, the Southport School, Harry Dawson, Leonardo Hughes, Jeffrey Warren, John L, Nikos Karathanasopoulos, Mac Ramsey, Hayden Miller-Wright, Jed Galley, Sean Medimu, who was coached by Cameron Kennedy. The gold medalists and Australian champions for 2024, the King School, Mac Mason, Tom Wallen, William Farah, Alfred McLean, Samuel Hines, William Rogers, Campbell Wickham, Charles Baker, and Otto Gerber, who is coached by Julian Huxley and Simon Huxley. The Barrington Cup will now be presented by Paul Schultz. Please congratulate the 2024 Australian champions and medalists. And I can also confirm that the King School have won the overall schoolboy point score trophy. Congratulations to the King School, winners of the Barrington Cup and also the schoolboy point score trophy.
18 years since the King School has held the Barrington Cup aloft. In that year, a crew that contained such names as Cameron Girdlestone, off the back of a very strong couple of years for the King School as it was in the early 2000s.
The crew that finished, in this case, third in their head of the river, but going on a week later to win the national championship. Not a bad 8-day period for the King School.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great redemption and
it is. So our last race, Chris, is on the course. It's the final of the Club Men's at Coxed as we get ready for the Interstate Regatta in about 45 minutes' time. But the Club Men's Coxed, some business to be concluded here on the waters of the Sydney International Regatta Centre. Two crews from Sydney Rowing Club sitting in lanes 1 and lane 2. UTS Haberfield in lane 3. Melbourne University lane 4, Mercantile in lane 5, also with two crews in the race. The Toowong Rowing Club from Brisbane lane 6, and the second crew from Mercantile racing in lane 7.
Through the 500-metre mark, it was tight, not more than a second separating any two crews, but it was, at that point, it was Sydney 1 and 2. At the moment, from our drones footage, we can see that it is the Sydney crew over in lane 1 who are currently leading from the Mercantile crew, or the UTS Haberfield crew in lane 3 rather, and Mercantile here over in lane 7, currently occupying that provisional bronze medal position, but only narrowly from that UTS crew, who is coxed by Terry O'Hanlon, who I would say possibly one of the oldest competitors at the national championships, but still loves getting in the cox seat in a competitive crew, and a man who was instrumental in the design of this very venue at the Sydney International Regatta Centre.
And what a show the venue's putting on again. Just looking at the flatness there of the water as these eights make their way down. It's been great conditions pretty much all the way through the 6.5 days so far, and should be right to the end of racing this afternoon.
And Mercantile still just narrowly behind, only less than a canvas, 0.36 of a second, separating second and third place. That Mercantile crew, that club won this event the last time that it was held at the Sydney International Regatta Centre in 2019, and quite a dominant performance as well over a Sydney Rowing Club crew in the silver medal position. But Sydney in the prime position there. They went 1 and 2 in the coxless fours, and those two fours getting together to form a very dominant eight. The third four partnering up with the double scull, as well as Henry Cross and Oliver Marie. Of the medal paying positions as they approach 1,500 metres road. See the Mercantile crew there on your screen, the coxswain Arabella Hall and the crew of James Guldrick, Oscar Tyrrell, Seth Swinney, Jackson Morris, Joshua Murphy, Sam Ustendorp and Benjamin Vandenberg, who are just challenging for that, or in a good tussle for the silver medal with UTS Haberfield. Still just less than half a second was separating them at the 1,000 metre mark. And at the 1,500 metre mark, it is UTS who have got their bow ball in front for the silver medal. Still only 1.5 seconds separating those two combinations. The UTS crew of Edward Kelly, Lawson Banks, Jack Power, Oscar St. Pierre, Flynn English, Will Clubb, James O'Meara, Luca Malozzi and Terry O'Hale in the cox, coached by Matthias Ungermark and Sam Fennessy. Stern four of that boat took a bronze medal in the club men's coxless 4 earlier this morning, and will be looking to go one better with a silver in the 8 if they can hold off a fast-charging crew from Mercantile as it was, because they are moving in the closing stages of this race. We're approaching the 1,750 metre mark. There's no doubt that it is Sydney Rowing Club looking to take out 2 wins in a row in the 8s, in the club 8s, as they did in the coxless 4s just a couple of hours ago. That Sydney Rowing Club crew of Toby Tegg, Declan Glendinning, Luke Sharam, Galen Quinn, Isaac Thurnham, Mac Bucknell, Torrin Olsen and Tom Creedham, Drub Kumar the coxswain and coached by Donovan Seck, Shane Mulvaney and Felix Dew, who have a little bit of clear water over the rest of the field, about a length and a half, but a good battle starting to unfold for the silver medal position. UTS going hard to respond. Mercantile went early, and we'll see in a couple of strokes' time whether they've done enough and gone early enough to overturn the Mercantile crew. But there is no doubt about that in the final race of the Australian Open Rowing Championships for 2024, it is Sydney Rowing Club to win the club men's coxed 8 UTS Haberfield by a almost neat length ahead of a fast finishing Mercantile crew for the bronze medal. Sydney Rowing Club number 2 in 4th. Melbourne University in 5th place ahead of Toowong, and the second Mercantile crew to round out the last race of the morning, the last race of the Open Rowing Championships here for 2024.
And another win to Sydney Rowing Club. So 4 of the 6 club events they've taken for the second year in a row. They win the club men's at coxed 8, 5:53, 58, 5:3, 48 in fact time, 4.45 seconds ahead of UTS Haberfield, and bronze will go the way of the Mercantile Club. Presentation of medals for the Club Women's Coxed 8s Championship of Australia. Medals will be presented by Sean Colgan, founder of the Colgan Foundation, an official partner of Rowing Australia and the Australian rowing team. Third place and bronze medalists, Melbourne University. Angelica Woodruff. Emily McComb. Jacinta Caruso. Thea Cool. Olive Pascoe. Lucy Green. Felicity Murray. Yolanda Hooper. And Ivy Jones. Second place and silver medalist, Mercantile Rowing Club. Mia Harrison. Imogen Nation. Grace Ivers. Freya Axton. Louisa Stocks. Alexandra Watson. Addison Luce. Louise Carr. And Jess Rawal. Who is coached by Peter Somerville, Zoe Fettig-Wynn and Andrew McNeil. The gold medalists and Australian champions for 2024, Sydney Rowing Club. Olivia Cassidy. Eliza Dunlop. Paige Critchlow. Catherine Mason. Hannah Keating. Amelia Crocker. Freya Neville. Isabel Farah. And Mietta Jones, who is coached by Lachlan Carter and Florence Griffiths. Please congratulate the 2024 Australian champions and medalists in the Club Women's Coxed 8.
Upbeat, downbeat, feel its heartbeat. Open spaces, open arms, open all night. Come feel it all and feel new.
A great way to conclude the regatta. I don't think I was left wanting, Richard.
finish to the, well, not quite finished yet, but at least the school and club race has now concluded. Some fantastic racing there, especially in the 8s. That race for the Barrington Cup, just unforgettable how close that was.
I almost didn't see that King's School crew coming, and was too focused on the battle for the bronze, which was just as exciting with St Ignatius getting onto the podium, the defending champions settling for bronze behind, no doubt, be very disappointed Southport School crew, and a great result for the King's School.
Yeah, although Southport did all they could. They got out in front. They tried to hold on. They were a dominant crew in Queensland this season, but just nothing behind, it seems. So a silver medal for them is still a fantastic result. And St Catherine's School of Sydney have moved up one more step this year in a very dominant season in the schoolgirls 8.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't take anything away from that performance. It wasn't quite the photo finish that we enjoyed commentating. However, a completely dominant season, and winning by almost 2 boat lengths after winning the Head of the River by 9 seconds, I think it was, a couple of weeks ago. Truly a spectacular crew to watch win the Sydney Cup today.
Absolutely, and there's the token Victorian here. Good to see Ballarat Clarendon get a win in the schoolboys coxed. They turned the tables on St Patrick's College, who've beaten them narrowly a couple of times this season, but Ballarat Clarendon won the New South Wales Championships several weeks ago now, and national title now as well.
Yep, the school fours really gave us some great racing. The Cox quads as well gave us some fantastic racing, and they were both won by Kinross Wallaroi, which, to our knowledge, first time that has ever been done.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, a lot of schools are not able to win both male and female events, but Kinross Wallaroi is a co-educational school have done. Also, the overall point score titles in the boys and girls. The schoolgirls did go to St Catherine's School of Sydney, and the schoolboys point score title went to your old school.
To my old school, to the King's School, with a win in the under-17 8 as well, which the crew that won the first 8 today in the Barrington Cup, they were the last King's School crew to win or a few of those boys, the last crew to win. They won that event in Ngambie a couple of years ago.
We'll have our final presentation coming up fairly shortly for the Club 8s as they come into the pontoon, and that presentation not too far away.
Hey everyone, it's G-Ro here. We are at beautiful Penrith. It's a little bit chilly this morning. We're gonna go for a walk around and see what's happening and have a chat with everyone. Gonna find out what our next Aussie rowing team name's gonna be. Hello, sweetie. How are you?
Good, how are you, Jake?
Okay, Mads, just want to know, what do you think we should be called?
I quite like the Yabbies.
The Yabbies!
Australians all let us rejoice.
Be like a fish of some sort. What about the salmons? Here come the silly salmons!
Australians all let us rejoice.
The emus! They do have very long legs.
They do have long legs.
Yeah.
And they're lovely aggressive.
Do they walk backwards, or did I make that up?
For we are young and free.
So I did hear one yesterday that
Yes.
was mentioned.
Yeah.
I think it was actually submitted.
Yes. What is it? The
Iron-
suspense is killing me.
Iron ores.
We've golden soil and wealth for toil.
That's actually pretty good.
Do you have any suggestions?
The marlins.
Oh,
Fastest fish.
I like that.
Our home is girt by sea.
Beginners.
Kid Prickly?
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Stop it. Buy me a coffee first.
In history's page.
Presentation of medals for the Club Men's Coxed 8 Championship of Australia. Presented by Sean founder of the Colgan Foundation, an official partner of Rowing Australia and the Australian rowing team. Third place and bronze medalists, Mercantile Rowing Club. Charlie Clark. Hamish Nickel. Barry Connolly. Lachlan Wilmot. Jake Polkinghorn. Harry Ahmad. Harry Cathcart. Oliver Scalzo. And Isabel Finch. Second place and silver medalists, UTS Haberfield Rowing Club. Edward Kelly. Lawson Banks. Jack Power. Oscar St. Pierre. Flynn English. Will Clubb. James O'Meara. Luca Malozzi. And Terry O'Hanlon. Who was coached by Matthias Ungermuck and Sam Fennessy. The gold medalists and Australian champions for 2024, Sydney Rowing Club. Toby Tegg. Declan Glendenning. Luke Sharam. Galen Quinn. Isaac Burnham. MacArthur Bucknell. Torrin Olsen. Tom Cregan. And Dhruv Kumar. Who was coached by Donovan Seck, Shane Mulvaney and Felix Jurt. Please congratulate the 2024 Australian champions and medalists. And Chris, we're about 26 minutes away from the start of the Interstate Regatta, so you and I get one of the best seats in the house to watch it happen and watch the A-Team, Ray Abbott and Lizzie Chapman call the racing. But it's been great fun here this week with yourself, Ben Homer, Stuart John, and Owen Nix, of course, back this year, and Izzy Day joining us briefly throughout the regatta as well. But Hope you've had a wonderful week. It's been great fun from up here.
I absolutely have. It's been a great day, a great week, and some great conditions ahead for this afternoon's racing.
Yeah, we look forward to the inside. Regard to the first race, the PR3 Women's Single Scull is coming up at 1 o'clock. So racing back on the course, the last 10 races in 25 minutes from now.
What song are you listening to pump up?
Do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I never get enough.
Nice. Yep.
And we got to carry the orb.
You! Could you just talk us through this collection of hats that you have?
Over many years, kids after they finish racing will sign their hats and hang them up.
Yep.
And then they can show off to their friends that they've been here before. Aaron Skinner signed this hat 17 years ago at his first Nationals.
Love this guy. Do you do an off on the land warm up before you get on the water?
Yeah, a bit of active stuff.
Oh, can you give us a little demonstration? Look at those high knees. Love it. This is so great. Keep going. Best days of your lives. You know, have you got a slogan for Bole? I feel like it could be something like,
It used to be put them on your face. We're kind of going to put them back on your
life
face.
looks better through Bole.
It does, yeah.
Seriously, have you tried these?
Attention, go!
Alice, how many watts did you get?
695.
How old are you?
17.
This could be the Erg princess over here. Frothing. Ew. That's what I'm talking about. I love an oversized tee. Do you know what it's missing? Flowers. Can you tell us what you're doing here?
Well, we've got for Life's a mental fitness charity.
Very important.
Yeah.
Physical fitness is as important as mental fitness.
We've actually just launched the mental fitness gym. Go onto the Gotcha for Life website, and pretty much that gives you a lot of workouts for the emotional muscles. We've got 7-day program, so that's just launched and it's been fantastic.
Girls, have you just had a race?
Yeah.
Oh, are we happy?
It was a scratch through.
First 500, talk me through it.
First 500, fly off the start. I like a quick start, get out in front early,
Yeah.
or at least,
Yeah.
you tried at the beginning if you dive towards the end. But yeah, just hold through, basically.
So proud of you. Bring it in. Can you talk me through, like, what part of your race are you just so hungry for? You're like, yeah, this is where... That's it, girls. I love that.
Yeah.
And you just dominate there, yeah? Before you know it, you'll be at the training centre with me. You heard it here first.